and welcome in all of the YouTubers, all the thousands of YouTubers that I have watching my stream. I don't have any. there's none. I don't know how you get discovered on YouTube, but there's probably a way. I tried posting daily 5-hour streams for a third of a year, but it didn't gain me any traction. Maybe I'm just not popular. Okay, let me get the print off of the floor because I dropped it. Yeah. So the print is pretty good. Print's pretty good. It's pretty much what we designed. Hey, what's up, Madam You? How you doing? It's pretty much what I designed. It's got some little flubs in it. You know, there's little issues, but nothing too crazy. And we designed it to be printed, so obviously this works out pretty well. You know, flattening this down might have been pretty good, but I left it up to interpretation. The only thing that might go wrong right now is this bolt might go through the whole thing, even with the brake assembly on it. We'll see. We'll see in just a minute. We'll button this up in just a minute, but I gotta do this. I gotta clean this off a little bit, guys. This is getting to be out of control. This is not tenable as a setup. So I'm gonna move some stuff to select locations. Like all the ferrules go back. I think down here is where ferrules were, because we use those for electrical stuff. I probably need to make one of my big Husky bins into a bin for all the rail parts. Adds a washer, yeah. This is what happens when you crush a butterfly out of your time machine, is my shop gets even worse. Which one is, let's see, that's large hardware, and then the one down here, this one is rail hardware, so put those with rail hardware. And this adapter was bad, and I should feel bad, it doesn't fit the batteries. I thought I could just buy the adapter, right? And I bought the adapter, and it turns out, oh, well, that fits, but I guess it doesn't fit. This doesn't fit, I think, the thing that I wanted to fit it to. I think. Where's the thing I wanted to fit it to? Where'd that go? It was, I think it's across, it's a finger sander. It's across the room. Hold on, let me go get it. Let me go check this over here. Finger sander. Did it not fit this? Yeah, it doesn't fit the finger sander. I thought it would. It does not. Fit like that? No. Wait, this is all like melty. What happened there? There's just some crud on it, I guess. Hold on. I'm discovering things over here. Bear with me. Oh, the pin spacing is different. Yeah, okay. My poor finger sander. Neglected. Got over here with that stuff. Put this light back. Just rest assured, I am shuffling things around in here in such a way as to create some clean space, workspace for us. Just a little, maybe. .3D scanner goes away before I scratch the lens. Doing something stupid. The seat back I could probably put back on the seat, to be honest. We're not hiding anything in the seat back because I think all that seat back area is needed for when, you know, the fat guy sits on it and it flexes. The American Nut Buster. The, what is it? Linear motivator. That goes back around the corner here, out of the way. Oh, that's that scratchy speaker grill. Ow. That's not painful. That hurt bother. This hurts you. Okay, that stuff is not moving. All right, get this back away before I mess it up. I kind of need to start working on Gridfinity for this drawer, for this whole cabinet, because there's a lot of wasted space here, I think. And if everything has a place and everything is put in its place, then things can be nice and organized, you know? This is mostly crap. Well, this back over here. What was that big thing that I just stepped on? don't know. Willow's collar project needs to go somewhere special. I don't really have anywhere special for it. Right now, everything is kind of taking up, well, put it with all this stuff. The Sims stuff I'm going to start getting together, like putting it all in one place and getting it off of this table so that I can get this table out of here. All right, my mic cable is getting caught on stuff. An opinion amplifier. That's what I'm wearing on my collar. My own personal opinion amplifier. Which is why I don't have dog shit takes just to get you guys riled up. I hate that. Know a couple streamers that do stuff like that. They just have the worst opinions, and it's not their opinion. They're just saying it to get people to get a rise at a chat. Nope, my opinions are pretty milquetoast. You guys can probably put me on the charts based on the fact that I just have diabetes. Like, what do you think the motivation behind my political opinions is as a type 1 diabetic living in America? It'll always be a mystery, huh? Let's see, miscellaneous small parts I am just going to dump over there. This is from an infrared, a 20,000 volt infrared illuminator from Vietnam. We still have the box for it. It's on the side of it, it says 20,000 volt sniper scope. I don't know what I'll do with this. I took this off of my old potato cannon. I'll put it up here. A bunch of other curiosity stuff. Can't even say words. Let's see, these things go back here. A thing of surface mount capacitors just sitting here on this table, huh? Just a little sleeve of tantalum surface mount capacitors. Why do I stream if I can't even pronounce words? We probably need this computer to be nearby just for the sake of talking about it. This is something to tackle. Money gun. We'll get to money gun. Promise you. Money gun is going to go money plane. Money gun, we're just going to put back here where it's going to eventually live. What kind of thermal cam? There's a command called thermals, and that'll tell you exactly what it is, but it's a Lepton 3.5 thermal imager on a webcam module from GroupGets. The thing about my setup is that it existed a long time ago, right? We did this a long time ago, and so my setup is very specific to what existed a long time ago. Nowadays, there's much better stuff. There's just way better thermal imaging available these days for much cheaper too. Much, much cheaper. And you can get away with a whole lot. And get better frame rate and all that. Garbage, garbage, CAN bus, CAN bus. I need a CAN bus bin. A bus bin. Bustin'. Feel good. Bustin', 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 bustin'. Oh, this needs to make it back over here. Hold on. I'm going to cross the whole shop. I'm going to neaten up the desk a little bit, and then we'll get started. And we have the 3D print to test to see if it'll explode. I've held off in testing it for you. For you. I learned it by watching you. No, I did this for you guys because I didn't want to jump the gun and not show you guys stuff genuinely messing up. Or genuinely working. Is it the former? Is it the latter? Who knows? Who knows? We'll find out together. This stuff is relevant to the pedals. Goes right here. Yeah, there you go. It's exclamation point for Nightbot. For Nightbot. I should probably make a set of leads that plugs into the power supply that go directly to the breadboard. That'd probably be a good idea. Well, if we can think of anything else to move with an automotive motor, I don't even know what. I've got this extra one now. Although I coiled up the power supply wires and they did that to me. They just came apart. Like I'm nothing. What am I to you? Oh, is this now calling itself house music again? There's one thing that's sure about house music. It's going to tell you what it is. What genre of music am I listening to? Well, it's not house music because it hasn't told us that it's house music yet. Oh, wait, it is. It just told us it's house music. Where do I put this? It's just like this extra car motor that I have. Let's put it all the way over here for now. Way over here. Out of the way. Out of sight, out of mind. If I don't see it, it's not real. Getting there. Things are looking a little bit better. Probe lead we'll take with us because we're not doing CAN bus necessarily today unless this is a total success. If this print is a total success, we might end up doing CAN bus stuff, but I'm not totally sure about that yet. This probe lead can tuck away with all this other stuff over here. This is not relevant. We'll put that in a drawer where we'll find it later and say, what were we thinking? Random small parts need to go into a place. Small parts all the way over there. Random, messy, small parts. Gunking up my setup. This is probably going to need to be machined. Unless I find like a bolt. I'll probably look for a bolt that could do the task of that thing. This goes with this. This goes with small parts. Small parts, small parts. To be organized later. Or dropped on the floor like that one was. What do they call this type of synth line? That's not a Hoover. There's a name for this. Do you guys know? It's got a name. All right, screws and bolts, and then I'm going to pick up all the little pieces of circuit board that are over here, and then we're going to get to this eventually. This kind of thing has a name. I don't know what it is, though. Yeah, acid-base 303. Is that all? That's all? It doesn't have anything more specific? Because I do recognize that it's a 303 after working with the M303 so much. That M303 is a bastard. I don't know what is wrong with it. And it pisses me off so much. I have some things that I kind of want to test in the back of my head. What's up, Michael Manog? Yeah, so I have these modular 303s from both my buddy Dave and from a viewer who said, I can't get in touch with them to fix it, and I don't know what to try, so I'm going to send it to you, and if I never see it again, so be it. But I'm like, oh, I'll definitely fix it up and send it back to you. But that was like a year ago, and I've been through the ringer with these M303s. I did a lot of work to reverse engineer a significant portion of the circuit, only to have it just spit in my face again and again. It keeps just not working. You know, I do all my due diligence to figure out what all the parts are in the pathway, do some tests, electrical testing on it, make sure everything's got continuity, and then I plug in new parts because I think, hey, maybe that part is dead. Let me plug in some new parts. Plug in new parts, nothing. It still doesn't work. It still does the same exact thing of not having any volume on its output. I don't know what to do. I have a couple little things that I kind of want to poke at that might reveal something, but I'm not too confident. It's pretty much got me shook. We're just cleaning up, we're neatening up the desk because it's gone a little too far. So in order to neaten up, I got to get these piles of like crap out of the way from previous streams, and that way we'll have room to breathe. We can actually look at stuff on the desk. So using all these little pieces of twist tie. I always keep the little twist ties from all my wires because that way you can retwist them and organize a little bit more. The shifter will stay on the desk, but we're not using it today, so Not necessarily. Clean up, clean up. Clean up the mess. Oh, that's from, wait, that's from Smiling Friends. Why was that in my head? Huh. Clean up the mess. How, wait, what's going on? This thing, like that? There we go. Okay, got it. I'm furling my wires so that they're organized. Can't have a mess. Okay, careful now. Oh, come on, man. This thing is like fighting me at every turn. Why are you fighting me? Usually you just go with the memory of the cable. They have a little bit of a bend memory to them. Yeah, see, that's nice and neat. Yeah, people go, your shop is so organized, and it's like, well, this is what it takes. What I'm doing right now. Meticulously recoiling a little wire so that it doesn't take up a lot of space in my shop and it doesn't get twisted with other stuff. Why don't you make all the communication with fiber optics? I could go fiber for my networking, but it's a lot of hassle. A lot of hassle. I could also make everything wireless, but my pancreas is wireless, so I don't really want to gum up the airwaves. I've already got all of these Internet of Things sitting all over the place. I don't know what the limit is. There's a limit, right? It's got to be a limit. Okay, so there's that. That's not organized, but it's looking a little better. This bolt over here. That in the garbage. This was the result of my putting a metal bar across the brake pedal and then stopping in my summer car, doing the rally in my summer car. And I bent the piece of aluminum. So we're trying to get around that and not bend everything and mount it to the larger 40/40 rails, which are held down pretty good. They're pretty well stationed in position. Let's see here. What else do we have? More shifter stuff. Jumper. Let's get this out of the way. Oh, there's a lot of hardware stuff down here that I need to shuffle. Okay. Now I gotta stand up. Yeah, what do you even mean? What are you insinuating that I convert into fiber optics? Because, like, fiber optics are pretty fragile. And all of the wires and cables in this shop get stepped on. We get stepped on. Oh, Lord. Whatever this thing is, it's going in the garbage. It's a bunch of magnet mounts for LED stuff that I don't need. For the sim rig, I'm not going fiber optic because that's a huge hassle. I mean, that would be cool, right? That would be really cool, but we have CAN bus, and CAN bus uses wires, and wires are fine. Wires are fine for the sim rig. Fiber optic on the sim rig, I guess things aren't flexing as much there, so that might be slightly acceptable. It's what BMW uses for their an infotainment system. They call it infotainment for some reason. They use it on their infotainment system, and it's this massive fiber optic loop that goes all around your car. And it facilitates very fast communications, but cars vibrate. And the last thing that fiber optics want to experience is vibration. They do not like it. They do not like to flex because they are glass. And so I don't really feel like going fiber with that. If I were doing a crazy resto modded actual car, I would be tempted to go fiber optics with all of the CAN bus style communications because it would be cool and funny and it wouldn't weigh a lot. And yeah, I don't know. Just mostly because it would be like a huge, weird thing to do. That's most of the motivation there. But for the sim rig, functional kind of takes precedent at a certain point. So while we are using actual car parts, I am not going to be going with like weird protocols. We're just going to use CAN bus, and CAN bus is really fast compared to what we were using before. We had LIN bus going on the steering wheel. But we can use CAN bus, and then it can directly communicate with Open SimRig. Open force feedback is actually what Open FFB. is what we're going to be using. I think OpenFFB board, I think, is compatible with the Granite Devices controller that I have. And if it is, which I really hope it is, then everything goes CAN bus. And as long as we send the proper CAN bus to OpenFFB, we can have a force feedback steering wheel controller as one USB device. And then if I need to split other controls off into additional USB devices, I'm going to have the option to be able to do that through the Raspberry Pi. I've got a whole system in mind. I don't want to use somebody else's SimRig setup. I don't want to use like the thing other SimRig people are using, because the fun of it is coming up with this stuff on our own. That's sort of the cool part about it. I've not heard of anything like this existing. It might, but if it doesn't, we're going to make it. All right, I think the rest of this stuff I'm willing to let go with. I'm willing to let go of it. If you truly love all the stuff that you've used to build circuits over the past couple months, then you'll let it go. You'll let it go into the garbage where it belongs, where we all belong. Okay, let's see. My little sample piece of carbon fiber. Let's put that up here. And then Raspberry Pi, shift knob, bother sign, computer, circuit boards that I forgot to put away. Damn it. I'm sweating now. I really should have opened the window more. Also, I've never done anything with fiber optic communications. I know you're just blinking a light in order to do it, but having never done anything with it, I kind of don't want to jump off the deep end immediately and do something like that where I'm going to completely overwhelm myself. The CAN bus is known. It's known. There's a lot of support hardware for it. So I can just hop in on the backs of giants and we can, you know, put our best foot forward and then fall on our face. But it's a pratfall, so everybody laughs. And it makes kind of a cartoon honking noise because we fell on our honky nose. Our honky clown nose. What's under this? Oh, this is like a... Those need a more solid mount. They're very light. They're very lightweight, these little indicator lights that I've got going on. What are all these wires that are coming out of the side of this thing? One's for the light, I see. And this goes with Willow's dog collar, but I need a safe spot for it because it's sort of right in the middle of everything going on here. Little bits of wire everywhere. Man, disorganized is what you could describe this place as. All right, back around. Gonna drop this off over there. We're almost there. We're almost to where we start stream. We've got a big thing to test at the beginning, so I want to let everybody come in because I'm gonna bolt this thing up, figure out how to do that, and then press on it with my foot, potentially blowing up the whole setup as the 3D print shears into a million pieces. Yeah, so this was dropped off by my brother. I already have an E46 shifter that's probably better suited for this whole thing, and I didn't really like it. I'm not used to the up-down motion. This is from an E46 M3, and it does the park reverse neutral drive, but it also flips over into plus minus, right? And it does it just naturally. I can just flip this over to plus and minus, and then we're there. We don't need a special lockout or anything in order to let us flip gears with this guy. I think. Ugh, geez, it's a mess. I think something might have locked internally. Anyway, this one just does like 5-volt out signals, right? It just flips switches with Hall effect sensors. The reason that this one is on the desk right now is because, well, number one is because my brother gave it to me because he got a new interior for his car. He went to the junkyard, he found a new interior. All these BMW F10s are starting to show up in the junkyard. And so he found a luxury interior for his car. Great. Well, that means that he had this extra shifter sitting around and he was like, do you want the shifter too? And I'm like, no. So he dropped it off with me anyway. And it's a responsibility for me to get it running and reverse engineered and working. So we found some code online, because this is a fairly common thing to do with people who have force feedback steering wheels. They want to use like a real shifter, because this thing is a full product. This thing is the whole deal, right? This gives you the feel of a real car shifter, because it's a real car shifter. And it's also an island. It's its own little thing. Turns out that this is two little things wrapped into one. No is a yes. Yeah, exactly. It's two little things wrapped into one. One of them is a display, and all the LEDs of this thing are a display. The other thing it is a bunch of buttons. And so those buttons communicate over CAN bus, and the LEDs look for CAN messages from other components of the car. So when you shift this thing into drive, the transmission says we are in drive now. And then this thing will display that we are in drive now. So it's like two separate things. It needs another device to manage it. And that's where the Arduino comes in. The reason I wanted to get this thing working is so that we have sort of an intro to CAN bus and sort of a little bit of a crash course in how to get an Arduino communicating with a CAN bus system. And so we get to know what baud rate it is and all those other little proclivities of the system. We got there, but we didn't get the full function of the shifter yet. I would have to rearrange all the code bit by bit, and not bit by bit, but I have to rearrange the code so that I understand what's going on, and so that it properly emulates a car shifting into gears, because that's what the joystick project wanted to do with it. We found one that just wanted to get it like working a little bit, but it was just a big complicated thing to get it back into working condition. We could work on that today if the print completely explodes and I have to reprint another 4-hour print. We'll probably work on that. That's a little bit of software though, and I kind of want to avoid software today. Just because. All right, that feels a little better. Desk feels a little bit cleaner. There's still obviously messes tucked away, but I can sit down for a minute and stop sweating. So we got most of this working. We just didn't get the shifting into gears part of it. Like we can put together some logic that'll get it to go into the different modes. I don't know what I'm going to do with it though, because I don't really need it to flip gears. We've got our own 3D printed shifter that feels like a real car. And the whole purpose of this setup is to emulate my car, and I drive a manual. So maybe for some games we could pull it in and use it for that, but that's the whole purpose of Raspberry Pi CAN bus stuff. I'm going to try to get the Raspberry Pi speaking CAN bus at a high baud rate so that it can be an intermediary for all the signals that are running around, so that I can on the fly assign controls and, you know, results of controls. So I can say like, hey, I want to give chat the ability to flip us into neutral. No. I know you guys conflate stream starts soon with the stream actually like just running, but that's not what it means. I gotta get a wrench on this thing and tighten it. My camera keeps loosening itself. Why, hello there. Hello there, chat. How are you? Hold on, let's get a smaller. I gotta work on you, chat. I gotta put a screwdriver into your brain. Try to hold still. Oops, that was the wrong way. Without bending my screwdriver, it needs to be large enough that it doesn't bend. Can you feel that? Thought it was recording? Nope. No, it ain't. This is just us hanging out. Hanging out ahead of stream. And I'm trying to dry off because all that running of stuff around the shop to kind of pseudo clean up was got me sweating because this room is just innately sweltering. Hello, Big Hardware. What do you have for me? I need something that'll act as a spacer. Machining this is going to take too much time. I mean, maybe I can get the Dremel out and use that. The orange thing on the wall behind me? The orange stuff on the wall is what's called wall control. And wall control is a way, you can buy dings and dents of them and they have like little bent ends, but it's a way of hanging stuff up on the walls. Because I've had no space horizontally, so I had to move all the tools and stuff vertically. So there's a lot of 3D printer stuff in the corner that's blocked by the 3D printer, and then those calipers are just up there as display items because they're cheap. And then I've got a whole bunch of like bullshit tools on that wall. I need to go through those tools and like put the ones that I never use in a bin and put them elsewhere. What are we building? We're working on the sim rig. We have a part that we 3D printed, 3D modeled and 3D printed. And we are going to try to put that together and see if it doesn't explode as soon as I put a little bit of the beans on it. As soon as I put my toe beans on the brake pedal, we got to see if this blows up my whole shop. We didn't really think about this last little piece here, which is the brake load cell and this beam. I thought it would be cool to have an aluminum beam, but I think that was a bad idea. I think that might have been a bad idea. An improvised racing device, an ERD. Yes, my ERD. You heard? My ERD. Thing is, I don't want to concentrate a bunch of force into a small area. That would have been funny. A drywall anchor, or rather a concrete anchor. I actually need to put those on the wall. I have an application. I don't know if I'll be able to find a little piece of hardware. We may just cut this. Problem with using this, though, is that it goes all the way to the disk of the load cell. I guess it does interact with the disk of the load cell. That is good. Okay, so we don't necessarily... We might need to put a washer on it. Probably don't, at least for now. We'll just try this out. If you ever post pics of your room anywhere, it looks good. I don't know. It's a, you know, you got to get rid of 90% of the stuff that you have out in order to share on like the weird Reddits where people just post pictures of their setups. Have you built the steering wheel? Yeah. So the steering wheel is a Mercedes S-Class steering wheel, and we have reverse engineered the S-Class steering wheel via the LIN bus, the local interconnect network bus. The one thing that I don't know that I would love to find, if anybody owns a Mercedes and a friggin' logic probe, I need to know what the backlight signal is so that I can turn the lights on the steering wheel. But yeah, I've got a Mercedes S-Class steering wheel, and then we've got a Mitsubishi Mel servo. That's this thing all the way over here. The old setup clipped to the side of the desk, but now since my brother drops off an entire BMW F10 car seat, I need to buy hundreds of dollars worth of linear rail, actually 4080 rail, in order to make an entire sim rig that I don't have room for. The brewing table that I've not really ever brewed on is going to move to another room, and then this thing will take its place. And then when I have my buddy Julian here to play music, I'll have to play musical chairs with the furniture in here. But yeah, so the whole seat means that I'm going to build this thing. I wish watchers, viewers could stream to you. I wish you would just gather more of you and come in to the stream. I just need as many of you as possible. So yeah, anyway, so like all that stuff over there is going into this sim rig, except for the music stuff. That doesn't go in. This stuff does. And then I bought a drive shaft from a Mercedes that couples to the wheel, so that'll be electrically adjustable. So the chair will be electrically adjustable and the steering wheel position will be electrically adjustable, and I can give you guys control of my chair and wheel position. So it's an extra little layer of annoyance while I'm playing games. Have you thought about the games you're gonna play with it yet? No, but I'll figure it out. You guys are full of suggestions. Obviously, the Discord is a place to discuss that, too. I want to see a door with power windows. I'm not going to deal with a window regulator. I already have to deal with those IRL enough. I understand OBD2, etc., but I don't know how to get started. Yeah, there are kits on how to do it, but I wouldn't suggest you plug into your car and just get started with that. Maybe find something that's a little low cost and speaks the bus, and then an Arduino kit that also does. Because I am just getting started in this as well, but I'm definitely not just getting started in electronics and robotics. I am, save for a better term, I am an expert. If there were a better term, maybe a clown. I'm a professional electronics clown. But yeah, so that's I don't know how I'd start out with it, to be honest. You can only do so much reading before you have to have an application in front of you to really motivate you to do things. But so anyway, we're trying to make the simulator setup all speak CAN bus and be fast enough that I'm not going to deal with too much delay. Like when I hit a button, I don't want there to be a significant delay. All this communication stuff needs to happen lickety split, it needs to be fast. Which is good because which we may be able to achieve because this thing is 500 kbps. The chair might be 100, so I may have to have like a little gremlin in there to slow down the communications for it. I don't think you can run 2 bauds on one bus, so maybe it gets its own unique bus for the seat alone. That I'm hoping is not the case. I hope it is 500 kbps so that we can have everybody on the same line, because that's what CAN bus is all about. Everybody's communicating on the same lines, and they have sort of task scheduling that has a priority assigned to it. That would be nice. It's going to be a lot to code for, but it should be pretty fun. And then assuming that the Raspberry Pi can do I/O fast enough, this is a 3B plus, into the CAN bus, what I can have is I can have all of the buttons and all the functions on 2 sides of a Node Red flow, and then I can just plug things into each other. And if I need to scale things or time things out or make things like a temporary push, I can put nodes in there in order to make that happen. Did you 3D print the gear stick as well? The actual one that I'm going to use, yeah, the one that's down there in the trash zone. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way. I'm going to go sit down on the side of this thing and work on this stuff. Because yeah, the 3D printed gear stick is, I forget what site that was on. Oh, it's not there. I put it over here. It's over here. This thing is OSS-H or HSSO. I'm not sure, but it's pretty good. I mean, it feels like actually shifting my car. I want to get, this is the old throttle pedal setup. I had it so that the black stuff down there would clamp to my swiveling office chair, which wasn't that great, to be honest, because the swiveling office chair, when you hit the brakes, wants to swivel. So I would hit the brakes and then turn to the left. Slide to the right. Yeah. Problem is I locked this in here. This thing's not coming out without me taking it apart. Well, let me get the gas pedal out of here. The gas pedal is a digital device, but it doesn't speak CAN bus. This is from I think an E46 or an E90 maybe. And it doesn't speak CAN bus, but it outputs 2 redundant 5-volt signals for the gas pedal position. It's 0 to 5 volts. Pretty clever. I think the newer ones innately speak CAN bus, which would have been fun because we've got all the protocols listed out. We know what they should be speaking. All the blood's rushing to my head. I'm gonna pass out. All right, I'm missing 1 T-handle. Where's the missing T-handle? Maybe it is this size. No, it's definitely not this size. No. Wait, is that an English bolt? If it's just barely off of this, then I think it's English sized. Why do I have that in there? Why am I using a singular English sized bolt? These should all be metric. This is America. Don't catch me slipping up. Yeah, it is. It's American. I wanna be an American. Fight for the right America. Yeah. Man, this looks like a tripping hazard. It is until I get more stuff on it. Okay, why a single English-sized bolt? Confusing. Yeah. Just chuck a single 1/4 by 20 in here just to slip me up, just to trip up the. See, this is me painting myself into a corner. This thing is too long to angle out of here. Oh, I can go under. I can go under. I can go under. I don't have to take it apart. I can go under. I can go under. Give me this thing. Jeez. Okay. This is the old sim setup. Out with the old, in with the new. Dear God. Okay. American choosing imperial system is just pure stubbornness. No, it's not. Why would I continue with a system that routinely confuses me with fractions when I can just have straight up numbers? That's the most American sentiment you could possibly have. This is being good with fractions is too smart. I don't want to be good with fractions. I want whole numbers on my bolts. Everybody's got this America bad thing framed completely wrong, and they just don't know how to fucking communicate. It's all a tragedy of communication. They go, American size bad, America bad. It's like, dude, we work in metric. Don't kid yourself. You're talking about, like, you know, mouth breathing idiots that your country has too. We all have them, and they don't interact with anything intelligent at all. Everybody that uses any sort of an appreciable standard is using metric, and moreover, the people in America are smarter than you because you can flip between the two and still have an impression of how far things are away. You know, because I was raised on the English system, so I know miles per hour, and I know feet and yards, and I know it's an unfathomable number between all of the different, you know, delineations of units. It sucks, but it's what I grew up on, and I didn't have any part in that. So I'm not going to argue it with weirdos on the internet who just want to get a rise out of somebody so that they can get fake points on a website. It's stupid. You got to learn both. You got to know both, especially if you're in some kind of a science. It's just the way it is. You said that only because you want to see it larger on screen. Yeah, it's the same pervasive stupidity that brings people to wonder why stream starts soon isn't up while I'm not streaming. I know how far an oxen can plow before needing a rest. An acre. Is that what that is? Huh. Whenever I'm working on building something, I prefer metric 100%, but that one Twitter or Tumblr or Reddit post that said Fahrenheit is great because it's 100 hots outside does convey that it's pretty damn hot. It's kind of weird. I mean, you know, units is units. And I have parroted that one before where it's like, oh, it's 0 degrees. That means it's really cold. Oh, it's 100 degrees. That means it's really hot. But what is that? What is really hot? What is really cold? It's all relative. 0 degrees versus -5. Because, like, when the Celsius gets down there and people overseas start complaining, they say, oh, man, it's 20 out. And I'm like, what is 20 anyway? And it's like, oh, it's -4. And I'm like, what's the difference between -4 and 0 in terms of I'm feeling a percentage of how cold it is outside? There isn't. It's stupid, right? I mean, generally speaking, kind of, if you're in 0 degrees, but you're not standing in the sun, it might start to hurt. Maybe but that's, again, that's all relative because here in Pennsylvania, we wear shorts until it snows. So what does it mean? All of it is just numbers, right? So who cares? Yeah, and the problem is I don't have a good Celsius and Fahrenheit comparison at normal temperatures. I know the high Celsiuses for overclocking computers, and then I know the Fahrenheits for knowing what it's like outside, whether or not I need to put on a coat. And there's no overlap between those two. So it's a little, there's no overlap. So I didn't finish my point. Fahrenheit is as good as human reference. I mean, so Celsius, you're just citing different numbers, right? Nobody, I can guarantee you, nobody in America thinks of Fahrenheit as a percentage. That was just cope. They just made up that cope in order to explain it away better. It's 100 degrees out. Okay, I don't need to wear a coat. Like, I should probably stay in air conditioning. It's 90 degrees out. Okay, I don't need to wear a coat. I should probably stay in air conditioning. It's 80 degrees out. Okay, I don't need a coat. I can probably be outside for a bit, but I'm going to be sweaty. It's 70 degrees out. Okay, I don't need a coat. I can be outside for a little bit, but I'll probably get sweaty in the sun. It's 60 degrees out. Other people are going to be cold and in a coat, but I don't need one. I'm going to be comfortable outside. It's 50 out. Other people are going to need a coat. I don't need a coat, and I'll be comfortable outside. It's 40 degrees out. I don't need a coat for a little bit, but when the cold leaves my body, I'll probably want like something light. It's 30 out. Probably going to want a coat if it's windy. It's 20 out. I'm going to need a coat. It's 10 out. I'm still going to need a coat. It's 0 out. I'm going to need a coat. It might hurt a little bit out there in the shade. That's it. That's how we perceive the Fahrenheit scale of measurement of temperature. We don't say it's 20% of cold out. Nobody thinks about it that way. It's literally just like a big bank of temperatures. It's not, you know, and it's all intuitive. It's all just sort of natural in the brain because we grew up with it. I wish we had grown up with Celsius. Our parents were in charge of that and they fucked it up. They decided, nah, that's too hard. I'm not going to teach my kids Celsius. And so here we are. If I were taught Celsius, I would have known. Where are you reading the chat from? Social Streamblade. I get both YouTube and Twitch comments all at once. And that's how I put it up on screen. Do you have a screen in front of you? OBS and my microscope and everything. Social Streamblade. Work monitor that you guys can see. Monitor. That one currently has YouTube monitor up on it. Twitch is there. Discord in the background just in case something explodes. And then a couple other ridiculous links. This is where I actually preview links that people link in. You're only supposed to put relevant stuff in the chat in terms of links. And then the music is right there. So if I want to show what I'm playing, that is up here. And I literally just looked up old school tech house, 90s mix. And then that's the stream computer. It's water cooled. It's in a rack. It is bare bones because I haven't bothered to design a front face for it yet. And then this shit is just getting worse and worse. I need to, one of these days, chat, one of these weeks, I'm going to take a vacation. I'm going to take a month off or something. And I'm going to bust this thing down. I'm going to bust at my rack so hard. I'm going to bust all over my rack. No, I mean, I'm going to bust apart the rack and I'm going to put it back together again, this time with a little bit more purpose, and it'll be a little bit more organized because stuff is come and gone in that rack and it needs to be kind of redone. It's still pretty sweet. It kind of suffers. And I need to get WLED running on it too because this rainbow shit has run its course, man. As much as I like the plasma morphing rainbow shit from the LEDs being sort of in a zigzag pattern, that whole business needs to be redone. Plus, what I need to do is move the rack itself back a little bit in the enclosure so that I can put the glass front back on it. The glass front is not great because it's reflective and it's hard to like get on camera, but dust. It'll keep dust out. Convenient thing about Celsius is you know that when there's a minus in front of the number, it'll be slippery to walk, drive, and you shouldn't lick metal. Yeah, that is convenient. For us, that's at 37. 37 is when my thermometer on my car goes bing, and I go, oh yeah, okay, there might be ice. Yeah, the dust is, you can see the dust because the camera is putting the white balance crazy. I have a special mode that I can put the camera in that'll display this a little better because anytime the camera sees black, like black plastic and black anodized or powder coated metal and stuff, it'll jump the brightness up about 10,000%. And so things like dust become fluorescent under it. So much great gear are you adopting? This is so the course of my life, and you guys may have been able to intuit this, but I live in this house in the suburbs. I would prefer to live in the city. It's too expensive. I live in this house in the suburbs with literally one room that contains everything that I own in life. So it's not a great situation. Maybe some of you guys think it is, but at my age, I should have a family and a house, but I don't. I'm stuck here with you. Why am I buzzing? Spam call. Hello?
Yes, good afternoon. May I speak to...
Hello, yes, could I speak to Dr. Last Name? Wrong number. All right. And then they hung up. My dad's a doctor, and we get these calls to like have him work for other people. I don't know what the fuck it is. They keep calling me. Yeah, dust on dark surfaces and stuff. Like if I try to film something that's black plastic, you can see it's like blowing out the white balance. I auto white balance on this one because we have a variety of different things that show up on the desk, and I like to whip the camera over to other things that aren't fully illuminated. I have a lot of lights going on in here. You know, we got that 3-point lighting system that should get rid of shadows, but it doesn't do great. Depending on what we're displaying. Listen, I know sound, I know cameras. Those are two things that I know. And I know hacking cars. So we're doing all the things that I know today. But yeah, that's just as streamer boy, I know what I'm doing here. Have you tried to make a Faraday cage for cell phones? No, why would I do that? Why would I do... Listen, I'm a type 1 diabetic. I'm insulin dependent. I use the Omnipod Dash, which is a little pod that stickers to your body, and it contains 200 units of insulin in it. And it also has its own little needle and injection system. So there's a little plastic tube that goes under the skin. This thing speaks Bluetooth low energy. My phone speaks Bluetooth low energy. My constant glucose monitor speaks Bluetooth low energy. So some psychotic European came up with the Android Auto Pancreas system that wraps everything up in a nice bow. Plus, it'll upload all of my glucose levels to a cloud accessible also website where I can do things like show off. Where's that button? Don't I have a BG button on here? I thought I had one on here. Link S, BTS. I don't. Okay. Well, anyway, what I can do is I can turn on things like this. And you can see that my glucose level right now is 194. I've had a bolus of 8.4 units just a little while ago for lunch, and then little tiny micro boluses in order to bring my glucose level back down to normal. But that is hosted on a site that you guys can even access. It's in the Oh Bother Pancreas section of the Discord, and it's a pinned comment where it's got the URL of my glucose level. How many cameras do you have? I use 4 cameras and the thermal imager. Is there going to be a quiz on this later, or am I doing okay in this job interview? The digital pancreas is always so interesting. It's a window into how I feel. Have you gotten text calls from people wanting to buy your parents' house? Not yet, no. No, you know what? I've never gotten that in spite of the confusion over my dad and my name being pretty similar. What do I need to develop with or for Bluetooth? Just like a Bluetooth modem and a Bluetooth device. You just got to get started. I don't know about making like apps on the phone. I'm not sure about that. I don't know a goddamn thing about making an app on the phone, even though, excuse me, that was a burp. That was a spicy ramen noodle burp. And I'm going to try to stifle them during stream today. In order to run the Android Auto Pancreas system, because it's a third-party thing that's running medical stuff, they can't just distribute like a program for all of your phones. You're not allowed to do that because it runs against FCC laws. So what they do is they say, hey, you're a developer now. Here's the code. Compile it. And so you have to compile your own application in order to run Android Auto Pancreas. That is my involvement with that. So if you're talking about like, I want to do Bluetooth low energy and make an app. Well, I have no I don't know a goddamn thing about it, but there is no shortage of tutorials on the internet. You can definitely just Google and find a tutorial. I find, and it depends on how you learn, because how do I learn? With my mitts. I learn viscerally. I learn by chewing on things and tasting them and licking them carefully. And why is it all oral? Anyway, so I learn by doing. And so I typically will find like a project that I want to do that is a little bit beyond my skill level, sometimes a lot of it beyond my skill level. And I will, you learn by chat backseat programming. I have no choice but to. I had so much stuff, biryani and stuff. That sounds good. Yeah, I know. I had budak noodles, buldak, if you have my accent. Budak noodles, fire noodles, if you want to translate it. and they were the cheesy variety. And I took a bunch of chicken breast and I pulled it apart to make kind of this cheesy blancmange of shredded chicken, serrano pepper, noodles, and I put just a little bit of cream cheese in there to make it like real creamy. It was really good. And I always, the noodle packet, I snap in half and throw away half of it because I don't need all those carbs. That's why I'm looking like this, 194, which is barely at the top of my high range instead of approaching 400. All the food we get from different parts of the world. Hey, yeah, it's good stuff. Although, you know, always treat ramen noodles as the cheapest thing you could possibly get. I mean, it's a big packet of sodium, right? Oh, you are not the first person to have an idea like that. And in fact, we had somebody in chat who was using insulin pump therapy in order to deliver pain meds. The pain meds were for chronic pain. So it's a very sort of novel application of an insulin pump. But the problem is, like, even if an insulin pump is FDA approved, your insurance is going to be like, no, we can't do that. We're not going to pay for an insulin pump. It's an experimental insulin pump. I'm like, bitch, this was FDA approved. So I had to do a whole bunch of stuff in order to get it because insulin pumps are not cheap. These Omnipods, they say they can be $35 with insurance. And it's like, who has that insurance that makes it only $35? You guys sell them for like $500 for a pack of 5, and an insulin pump lasts me maybe 2 1/3 of a day. So you're just cranking through these mofos, and they contain an entire microcontroller, Bluetooth stack, a bunch of coin cell batteries, and some very nice medical plastic. The pump, the actual motor in it, is really cool because it's a piece of memory wire. It's a piece of memory wire that heats up. So half of the memory wire heats up in one side, half of it on the other, and it's got this little catch that moves like this. So one memory wire on one side will pull it tight in one direction, the one on the other side will pull it tight in the other, and while it's doing that, it's got these two little pawls, P-A-W-Ls, and one of them is a catch, and the other one pushes, and it flips back and forth with which one is doing that on two little gear levers that spin, and they advance a threaded rod to push the plunger. It is the most unreversible system I've ever seen in my life. There's more unreversible stuff to it as well. T-Slim, T:/Slim, which incidentally I got sued because that was my rapper name, and T:/Slim is their product or their company name. So no more rapping under T-Slim. Sorry. Anyway, mine was T:/Slim. It's spelled out colon. The company T-Slim makes an insulin pump that was the first one to use rechargeable battery, and it uses a draw and inject system on the reservoir, so there's less supplies that you have to flip between pumps. And that translated into their basically Omnipod style system. What they're going to have, and whenever it gets approved, unreversible. Sorry, what did I say? You put a patch on your skin, right? And then you clip the pump to that. And so that pump will clip between different patches, and the patches and whatever else it needs in order to inject would be on a different thing. So the different thing injects and puts the patch down. And so you've got the tube of the patch, and then you clip a pump to that. I can't wait to use that. I want that system because I have a feeling it's going to be so much more sustainable and cheap than the Omnipods. But right now I've got all the approvals for the Omnipods, so I'm just going to continue with them until I see, something good on the horizon. Right. So I've paused the music. I think we're ready to actually start the stream because it has been an hour and 20 minutes of just chatting. That is people just don't understand that that's the pre-stream. It's the stream ahead of the stream, right? We're getting excited for the stream. That's what we're doing. And I'm sort of letting people gather so that when I actually do something like what I'm about to do, the horrors that I'm about to wrought upon this world, I have plenty of people watching. I don't have just one person or two people that had the stream on earlier watching, right? What do you mean by unreversible? By unreversible, I mean, you cannot, let's say you mess up. What if you mess up with the Omnipod and you don't put the sticker down properly, or the tube came out of your skin? There is no way to reverse any piece of that system. If you want to put more insulin into it, because let's say you had you went out and you're like, oh shit, that meal had way more carbs than I wanted it to. So I've been injecting a lot of insulin through the pump, and I haven't had my supply of insulin. Now that I'm back on my supply of insulin, I kind of want to put a little bit more insulin in there and have this particular patch go longer. Well, the fill port on this thing is underneath it, and underneath it, it's a big patch of adhesive. So if you do anything to disturb this, that's it. And you're not about to put a needle in from the other side to get insulin in there. Not to mention, there's a spring that comes out of a catch and clips to the barrel that advances the plunger. You can't put that back. You can't unclip that, fill it with insulin, unless you do like major surgery to the top of this thing. Is it painful? No. This thing hits you with the force of 1,000 suns, and the needle is tiny. It's you guys can't even see it on camera. See, there it is. That's the amount of tube that goes in under your skin. It can sometimes be on top of a nerve cluster, and it can kind of hurt for like half a day, and then it stops. There's a lot of psychological torture involved with this, and the previous glucose monitor system was something where you had this whole plastic gantry that had a patch on the bottom. You would attach the patch, and then you'd have to manually hit a plunger, and sometimes that plunger would be on a painful spot. With needles, when you're injecting like a needle, sometimes you go, oh, that's painful. And then you pull back and you inject again, and you're not on a nerve cluster. With the patch system, it's locked into position. So if it hurts, it hurts. Get over it. So that plunger, there was a lot of psychological issues with that. They've moved up now to having just a button that you press and it goes pop, and then that's it. So do it, screw up, research why you screwed up. How to make it work, repeat as needed. Yeah, Dion's got it right. That's find a project, try to make it work, fail, figure out why, and be adamant about it. Because that's what we did. That's what we did with the shifter. We failed bad. We failed bad with the shifter, and nothing worked. And so I retreated with my tail between my legs. I came back the next stream, and we were able to get it to work just through being very adamant about stuff, and then eliminating all of the little special factors that I put into things like, hey, this would be really convenient if it worked on a RP2040. Got rid of the RP2040, unified the voltage levels, found out what the right baud was, because I thought it was 100 kbps. It's actually 500, and then we got it working. So it's perseverance and eliminating factors that might screw things up. All right, so anyway, yeah, so the answer to the question, is it painful, is yes, sometimes it's extremely painful, but I have no other choice. You know, what are you going to do, die? That's one of the things people, I could never handle needles. How do you handle needles as a diabetic? It's like, well, I have a choice. I can be like you, or I could be dead. So, you know, no, wait, I could be like you and be dead, or I could get over it. So that's that. Death is less painful. No, it's not. Not with diabetes. I don't know if you know, Smith Clay. It's easy not to know. I'm not blaming you for not knowing. I need to move this camera because it's funnier if I'm kind of off screen for my zoom in. I don't know if you know, but dying of diabetes is not. Compare it to the needle in the arm, the subcutaneous needle in the arm. Even the most painful subcutaneous needle in the arm is nothing against the pain of your kidneys failing because you've gone into diabetic ketoacidosis and your blood is turned acidic. It is very, very, very painful. I have been admitted to the hospital twice with diabetic ketoacidosis, screaming in pain, to the point where I look at the nurse and I'm like, is it a boy or a girl? And she's like, okay, that's very funny. Like, you know, like screaming in pain and not being able to stop, even though you know that, like, I was able to talk to the nurse in between going, like, it sucks, man. Yeah, acidic blood is not as cool as it is in Alien. Anywho, so we did a really cool stream, and I should have petitioned to be on Twitch front page for this stream. Every now and then we have a stream that goes so well, and I kick myself afterwards because we did so good last stream. You guys were awesome. We had a really vibrant chat and everything went really, really well. We were able to toss together this sort of cheesy 3D model in one stream. It was still 5 hours of work, but we were able to produce a solid that would marry our pedals to the 4080 rail, right? So we did a 3D scan and it turned out okay. There's a couple little you know, a couple areas that it's not ideal, but I don't need it to be ideal in these areas. The areas that we wanted were this face up here and then the one up top right, this area right here. That's all we need is a datum to represent what I've actually got on hand. And hey, it worked out. I mean, this thing looks exactly like that thing and all the measurements are correct. So 3D scanning is pretty cool. It looks like alien technology. I know the springs look like weird tubes and yeah, there's just all kinds of weird stuff about it. But, and then the broom handle. The broom handle is the most important part of the whole thing. That's that right there. So we were able to get a datum on these points. We were able to put sketches down. As I burp spicy. Putting the remnants of serrano pepper on the noodles was a bad idea because that made it very burpy. Waiting before the hand comes out of my chest. I can use the third hand. I would actually find that very useful. Yeah, diabetic ketoacidosis. It's okay if you don't know what it is. Consider yourself lucky. So anyway, we got a pretty good scan of this thing, right? Except for like some parts of it. Now, I'm not going to 3D model the entire sim setup. The whole point of the sim setup is for me to let go of my engineering tendencies and try to make something stupid for once. I do want it to be nice and neat and organized and all, you know, super duper engineering, but I also want to kind of let go of that part of my existence because it's torture. It takes me years to do projects like this if I don't just let go and allow things to be cheesy. So I'm going to allow things to be cheesy, but in the same vein, this angle is so weird. I have to mount this stuff to frame rails that aren't at weird angles. Making the frame rails be at the weird angles is doable, but I have to use the chop saw to do it, and it's much cleaner and easier in order to just print a bracket that'll attach this. If this bracket was metal, I could probably machine it. It would be a major pain in the butt, but I'd probably be able to do it. But I'm not going to jump to that immediately. If this were metal, it would obviously hold this thing perfectly and everything would be fine. Hey, what's up, Gonad? We're going to have a plastic explosion in just a little bit here. But what we did is we modeled it. I put it into the slicer and the slicer said, hey, that's great, man. That'll take 4 hours to print. I said, oh, we're not going to sit through that. We're not going to sit through a 4-hour print during stream. So off camera, I whipped it up. I printed it out. And now we have this entire 40 sized bracket adapter for a BMW, probably E90, I'm not sure, pedal system. Yeah, everything I do is always PETG. You've been around, you know, I don't print in anything else. Look at that. Bada bing. Awesome. Awesome. And we can see through the holes. Well, kind of. I mean, if I get my flashlight on these holes, we can see that they line up perfectly. It's identical to mine, except the pedals bend the other way. What? I mean, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, yours is more like flat. This one is, I don't know why the master cylinder, because in a car, you've got the unibody around you, which is just a bunch of like crazy shaped metal. And so I assume on this car, it's like a C shape with your feetsies down here. And so the thing is pushing like that against the master cylinder that's facing like up. That's so weird. Oh, right-hand drive might be a little different. I see. Mine is the same metal bit, but pedals go to the left instead of the right. That's so weird. You backwards right-hand drive-ins. That's another thing that should have been fixed in the 70s. The whole world should have been like, all right, listen up. We're going left-hand drive because nobody has swords anymore. And we're all going metric. We should have just agreed on that. But my parents were too weak. My parents' generation was too weak. There's no gas on this assembly. The gas pedal is on the floor. In my car, which is a generation before the gas pedal that I have. Ew, why is it sticky? My car, which is a generation before this gas pedal, it actually has like an elaborate pulley, like lever system that pulls on a cable. It means we can wield swords out of the driver's window. You guys aren't doing that enough, and I feel like you need to be doing that more. You need to be carrying swords around. What is the point of waving at each other if not to show that you're not holding a sword, right? Why do I wave at my neighbors when they drive by? It says, hey, I'm not holding a sword. Am I ever holding a sword? Because sometimes I should probably have a sword and raise the sword to them. certain neighbors, that one neighbor that I won't say hi to. Oh, that's right. I bought the whole connector. I was sick of pressing pins into this thing. So I bought the entire pigtail. Automotive High Street Jousting Championship. That's like Sink Pissing Championship. Or the Sink Pissing Champion. That was a Twitch name from the board a long time ago. It's waiting to return to the ground. What? Yeah, so anyway, we're trying to mount this whole thing. My knee hurts just looking at the brakes. Bangs knee, ow, gas, bangs knee again, ow. This is, I mean, look, so the gas is on the floor and the pedals mount from above, and I don't know if we're gonna have anything coming across this yet, because I haven't figured out where the steering wheel goes. The angle right here looks like it might match up to where presumably the steering column might mount. Our steering column is Mercedes and this is BMW, so obviously the designs are completely different, but we designed a solid in Fusion 360 that we thought was close enough, and I could whip this up onto the system just to test the position of the pedal. So let's do that, and then I'm gonna hit the brakes on it and we'll see if it explodes. And I'll also see if it feels naturally like a car. The beam that I mounted to the sim setup is a little bit low. It's a little bit low for our purposes, and I don't want to mount one of the full height beams, so the pedals might be a little bit low. It's possible that we could power up the chair, and in the 10 seconds that I have to adjust things, I could lower the chair down to meet them, but eventually this stuff is all gonna, you know, be integrated better. And also the pedals are a little close right here. I'm hoping that I can move the seat back far enough in order to give me a natural feel, because I'm not really copying the dimensions of my car. This thing is being made to fit in the room at all. I used to have 5-foot beams on this thing, but I cut this amount off of them so that it wasn't so daunting. I put the frame together with the full-sized beams before, and it was just absolutely unacceptable how much room it took up. So, but the thing is, like, this sim setup is eventually going to have beams that go across here for like armrests and joysticks and basically all this crap up here is going to go on like the armrests. And then I also have a monochrome monitor, like an old IBM monochrome monitor. And I'm thinking about like putting that at an angle down low so that I can put all like the CAN bus messaging on it and stuff, or just put chat on it. So I'm looking, it's like a Wing Commander spaceship with a display that you have to like, kind of like look down at. I thought that would be really cool. Anyway, no, I can use the chop saw to like cut things to the angle. I don't have to like sand it at an angle. Let's get what we printed out yesterday mounted, and then I'm gonna hit the brakes, and then we'll see if I get plastic in my eye. This thing was still the best thing. Gonad, you have to print one of these. You got to print one of these, man. The OSS-H. I know you like your wooden shifter because it's a temporary permanent solution, but still. It's Gonad runs on the red-green principle of technically, and remember, this is only temporary unless it works, in which case it's permanent. I have a lot of things like that. I had to get the gardening knee pad in order to do this. Actually, you know what? The first things first, we got to actually mount this to, we got to mount this thing. We got to mount the print to this so that our brakes work. That thing is horribly complex. Mine uses only 3 parts. I know. But it's the feel of it is really good. And then you could also do the roller thing like I did and have the reverse lockout. I know you're not going to do that, but I was going to send Gonad my pedals, my old plastic pedals, but it turns out he has access to these parts for 1/10 of the price. I don't know how you guys do that over there. You didn't have a recent like boon in car prices. Our car prices have gone crazy. It's like a bubble. Used car prices are nuts. But most of the stuff that I've got for this car, for the sim setup, has been $20. Each thing is $20. It is exactly like RC cars, where every single purchase is death by $20 increments. People love crashing BMWs over here, I think. I mean, same goes for us. We're no exception. What was that? No, it's just a cable that got stuck. I had the metal one too, but it's noisy. It wakes up the neighbor's dogs. Oh God. So it has high-pitched squeaking. Duct tape and wood solve your issues. Well, I mean, you know, the red green has got it right. Why? Why? Don't tell me these are English too. I found an English-sized bolt in my gas pedal, which is just appalling. Why? Can you damp something in there? Can you put some foam in it? Gonad setup is amazing. Chad, if you have never seen it, I would give Flatulent Gonad a shout out right now. He has, his whole setup is wood, and he's got like a foot cam on it as well if you want to see his feet. But he's basically built everything into a comfy chair, and he's got all of his controls right there. I should probably rhyme my next sentence, but I don't know what I'd say. It's a big floor, can't stop it bouncing a bit. Well, I feel like there's got to be a way you can keep from setting off the dog alarm. The first bolt is important. I want to see whether or not this sticks out of the bottom when I put it in. I could maybe put a washer on it, a washer or two. These bolts just came from some kind of a motor or thing that I have in the shop, and they're like super high grade bolts. They're way more than what I should be using. So push comes to shove, I will just, oh yeah, it's sticking out. So here's problem number one. That went in a little bit too easily, by the way. Problem number one, this bolt is just a little bit too long, so I gotta get something that's just a little shorter than that. I should be using this thing. If I use this thing on this bolt, it'll just strip its way through and embiggen the bolt hole. A gym pad with plywood. No, what you need is some of these things. This is like an extremely soft foam. Put a couple, shove some of the little squares of this into the different floor pads. Yeah, you need to get, well, I mean, obviously a throw carpet, but what's the Dynamat equivalent of a throw rug? I did Dynamat on these desks. The side panels of these things made so much noise. You can hear how, you know how dull that is? It just goes thud. That's because we have Dynamat all on the sides of these things. Yeah, butyl rubber. You can buy the knockoff stuff too. The knockoff stuff is, oh geez, okay. So I can push down on this screw and it will push into this a little bit. So we need to tighten these holes up for the next sprint. Right now, I'm gonna put it all together and hit the brakes, and it's probably gonna pull out from these two bolts. I could drill it and throw a threaded insert in there, but then that means that there's less plastic on it. So we'll have to figure this out. You got two massive rugs already? Oh man, okay, so that's all you can do. Local hardware store here sells it in rolls. Really? Oh yeah, okay. Well, there's a knockoff product that's the same stuff. But okay, I need to get a mate bolt, M8. Actually, I got the kit over here. Here's the kit. They don't fit quite as tightly as I'd like them to. I don't know about this. I should have tested that yesterday and started up another print because but we need to find all of the issues. So we got to run it through what's called iteration. Iteration is when you mess up real bad and you have to tell your boss that you messed up real bad. So you say, we're iterating through the design right now to try to work out all the kinks. And then you sound smart and not like a complete F up. All right, I'm actually going to get two of the same length. We'll just put those in there for now. The other one could be a much longer bolt. I could put it one of the like big, huge McLarge ones, but I'll just make it uniform. I don't have two of the same. Well, how do I don't have two of the? These are that size, but I need these to attach it to the rail. How do I don't have the thing? Okay, I'll put a longer cheap bolt in there. That'll be fine. The expensive bolts, these stainless steel ones, I guess I can save for another day. Teflon, I don't know if I'd want to use Teflon. I mean, I could just throw glue in there, but I'm just gonna reprint. So we'll put this one in here. Because yeah, my big indicator was that I pushed down on the bolt. Actually, that's not so bad. That's not so bad. I can only push it. Ow. Ouch. E.T. Ouch. Oh, gonad squeak. Squeakington. We still need to get the distance here for the little piece of metal that I'm going to put in to push against the brake pedal. So first I just want to mount this, and then I want to figure out what that distance is going to be. And this will also give me an impression of how much these screws are biting in. Not enough. Not enough. Not enough. That's fighting me a little bit. It fights me just a little bit, but it doesn't lock in. I need to put, let's do that correction once I get this bolt in so that we don't forget it. So part of this stream is showing off the capabilities of Fusion 360 TM. Boy howdy, when I use Fusion 360, I love iterating my designs. It's the best thing ever. It's a sponsored stream. I'm going to be corny about it. There's a possibility that this allows me to hit the brake pedal full force without the plastic braking. Obviously, these bolts are going to be what pulls away. So we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. I should probably have washers on those to spread the force out a little bit. But I don't think I'm going to distort the aluminum at all. I say aluminum because I don't say titanium. All right, let's get this out of the way. Construction. No. Sketches. No. Bodies. There we go. So I could do this two ways. I could either press pull on these in order to get the slightly different distance, or I can go into the sketch. And if I go into the sketch, what it's going to do is it's going to rewind the timeline. So it's like this big, your timeline is like this big algorithm that determines what happens when. So double clicking on the step in the timeline will get me into the sketch editor, and for some reason zoom me way out. And now what I can do is I can go to these holes that I made and make these 7.6 or 5. Let's make it the difference between the thing barely gripping at this scale and being very tough, but these are strong screws. I'm going to go with 7.5 and we'll see if that's an extremely tight fit. So that one shrinks. I zoom out. I go to the other one. Oh my God. The zoom could use a little work there, and go back to 7.5 on this one as well. You can put that to a variable too. And then you edit the variable and it'll do all of this anyway. But Dinsdale Piranha was very adamant about never doing that. At least he hates that. He hates using the variables in Fusion. I don't think I mind it. I've never run into a problem. Okay, so anyway, that's corrected so that we remember it the next time we print. This is a 4-hour print, so we want to get the most out of what I've printed already before we move on. So why bother? Why the spring? Well, the spring makes it feel like a cheap car. It makes it feel like a cheap car that's like a little bit broken, and I love that. And so I want to keep that. That's the special sauce. That's the special sauce in this setup. All right, so if that has to return, wow, that is at the top of its movement. Oh no, never mind. No, it's not. It's actually very close to the top of its movement, to be honest. This thing, and as you press in, it'll flex downwards. So what is that distance going to look like? I need to measure it somehow. I don't know how. Let's see if we can just get something like this in there. To there. It's like that distance. No, that's not a good way to measure it. I mean, I could linish back a piece of the aluminum rod that I was going to use. The aluminum rod might not be the best idea. I was thinking I could maybe stick just like a bolt in there for now and hold on to it, but I need this to take a lot of force. Maybe, well, okay, if I measure the distance above this hole, and then we can just cut it there. And I've got a small ruler that I can use for that. So let's make that, oh, it's 20 to the edge of the thing. And then this is 1. So 19 millimeter. We make it 19 millimeter out of the hole. So let's work on that. That's going to be either a Dremel or a handsaw project. I don't know which one I want to use on that. Probably going to go with the power tool, huh? Okay, let's get this sensitive thing out of the way. I mean, the button cell load cell is pretty resilient. I just don't want to put it through hell. They grip pretty good, but I think with the amount of force that my leg is going to put into this thing, I think they will pull out of the holes. And, you know, some solutions are I could put a nut on the other side. That would help distribute or well, it would help keep it from ripping out and stuff like that. But I think ultimately what I'm going to do is just use a pressure fit on the plastic. I think the plastic will be strong enough. I don't think it's going to be a crazy super duper amount of force. Crazy that some people are now using stepper motors for their pedals to create resistance maps for pedal travel. Yeah, they do resistance maps, and then you get force feedback from like anti-lock braking systems and stuff. If I were to do it the crazy way that I do stuff, I would use an ABS module and all those pumps because it would be funny. Mostly because it would be funny. All right, let's do a taper on this thing. Hold on, let's get my file. This is kind of a harebrained idea, what I'm doing right now with this aluminum tube. It's not really necessarily what I should be doing on the final thing. I don't know if I can rely on the PETG to not like fold for the plastic, but I think I can find like a better washer to go between it and the plastic so that I can spread that force out a little bit on the plastic. I'll have to look around at what I have and see what we can invent. Hammer. Maybe just. Okay, we are at the base. This I don't know. My confidence is waning. Make a mark at 19. Needs a scribe. There. I don't think a pipe cutter can cut this, so I think I need to use like a saw blade or something like that. Everything's a hammer, including the streamer. It's true. It's true. Yeah, I'll just get a saw blade. Hold on. It's gonna be hell to cut through manually with my mitts. But I do have a hacksaw, so I might as well use it. I was never good at hacksawing in a straight line, though, so this is gonna be a little weird. Dremeling, obviously, would be another thing that I could do, but I don't think we need to go crazy. I've already got this whole thing that can hold on to it for me. Sometimes the hacksaw is just the easiest option, you know? I've tried all kinds of different methods of getting the hacksaw to cut straight. Whether it be a miter box or by cutting around circularly. None of them work. Yeah, if you use something like an ABS system, then you could have braided lines go to another location. You would probably have to have like a control box that had all this stuff in it. But I mean, the ABS system has a motor that is designed to kick back your foot. And he's sucking now. Come on. Carefully. There we go. Now I gotta clean up all that dust. Man, this thing is gross. There's like dog hair all over it. I haven't used a hacksaw in a while. Good old hacksaw. Gotta keep it nearby at all times. You never know when you gotta dispose of body. All right, brush and pan and clean up. ABC, always be cleaning. Hacksaw and the Dremel will like it, just stuff everywhere. Remember, if you're trying to deny your enemy of materiel, mix this stuff with rust. And light it with a sparkler. Okay, so now we have our 19 millimeter post sticking out of this thing that is going to hit up against this plastic. I don't know what's going to happen next. It's probably going to pull the bolts out. This whole thing is a little bit harebrained. Let me get the burr off of this thing. I guess I'll just use a knife to do it. Gets that. And then this one will get the outside one, so I don't cut myself on it. How's my cut? Is that even? Oh, no, it's not. It's a weird cut. It'll do okay. Oh, yeah. That's a good squeak. Love that one. Makes my ears bleed a little bit. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Sorry, I got a weird song stuck in my head. It's like background music. Ah, I blew on that too close. Ah, okay. Need to get around to stripping the house's cast iron pans and reseasoning them. I've seen a couple YouTube videos of people doing that, shorts basically of people doing that, and it makes me want to do that to my pan. Makes me want to go get the angle grinder with a flap wheel and go to town on my cast iron skillet and then resurface it. I got a pretty good surface on it though, so I don't really need to. Need and want are, you know, two separate categories. I don't think this is a great solution, to be honest. I got to rethink this one for how to distribute the pressure of my foot on the plastic. I don't think this is it. We'll put it to the test, but still. You got a mill. Well, that's not, you wouldn't use the mill to get scaling off of a cast iron pan. That's not something the mill does. You know, using chemical methods or an angle grinder with a flap wheel would be the way to go. Current season is cracked and covered in rust in some spots. Ooh. Yeah, that's just get a battery charger and a tub full of salt water and do the little half cell reaction. Oh, for flattening the surface? I don't know if you'd go too far out of your way to do that. I think a mill's kind of doing weird because the mill, you have like mill scale on it. You're gonna be able to see the mill marks and stuff unless you really, you just polish. Polish is better. Yeah, see, this one is spinning inside of its this little hole there, so I don't like that. All right, let's see if we can get the load cell on here now. Should I put a washer on it? Probably. Here's the spring. Yeah, to not harm the load cell, maybe I should get just a little washer on it. Let me see if I can find a thick enough washer. I need like a turbo heavy duty washer so it doesn't blow up. But it needs to hit that center of the load cell so that it doesn't bend the outside because it's relying on sort of that top surface. You gotta hit the load cell at the right spots. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. So I need like a double thick small washer, not just like a small washer. Small washers, it's too thin. That's not gonna stand up to the force of my foot. I had washers out. Where do they go? They're over here? No? Where do they go? Where did they go? Maybe they're down here. No, they're not. I mean, I could literally just put a bolt on it. That would also work. This is some kind of small machine bolt, but let's just see what we can muster up. All I needed to be is like a bar. I probably should have found like a metal bar that I could put into this thing so that I could actually put some force into it. I think this washer is going to be too big for this disc at the bottom. It's got this little spacer right there that you're supposed to press against that or the shaft. You're not supposed to press or pull against the body of this thing. So I had a washer in there, but it bent. So I could put a washer down or a bolt down. I probably should put a bolt down, to be honest. And then the bolt will hit up against the surface of the, well, up against the thingy-wingy. It won't be the right distance for now. It'll press the spring in a little bit, but this way I won't damage the load cell. Oh, it's loose. Hold on. Oh, I see, I see. Well, if I do that, and then I should probably do two and lock one in place of the other. And I think this thing can handle quite a bit of weight. I don't know what the ratio of the brake pedal is, but I think this thing goes beyond what the brake pedal is able to, what my foot is able to instigate with the moment arm of the brake pedal. We'll have to see though. It's not the best way to do this. Hey, let's see, you could do that. Oh yeah, a little bit of preload. Now, if that alone just pops this whole thing out, I'm going to be in trouble. Yeah, see, I'd have to work on the height of this thing and pull it back a little bit so that this has a little bit more of the sort of wiggle room that it had before. But I can already see it busting through back here. So, all right, so let's take these 4 bolts and these 4 anchors, 4 cleats. Let's go over here and put this thing up, and then I'll hit the brakes and see what explodes. It's probably going to pull out of the 2 master cylinder bolts. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the outcome of this. It seems like that's a foregone conclusion at this point, seeing as those bolts fit so loosely. These anchors are going to fit very, very tightly indeed. So the 4 bolts probably could have used either I could have clearanced them from below so that I could put a washer on the bottom of them, and that way it would clamp in, and that would have held it perfectly. Or if I just spaced out the things properly so that the threads gripped better. This is a larger scale than I'm used to working with, so the 0.2 above and below is not as effective. All right, so this is the hard part, is getting all these things to line up, because these things will want to fall down in the slot. These are the kind that you can kind of work into the hole. You kind of push them in and then they tilt, but they're going to just vertically drop when I do that. Maybe I can do it this way. Hold on. I can put them on this first, and then I'll work them into position. That's probably the better way to do it. I'm already dropping hardware all over the place. Hardware everywhere. Saffron bears everywhere. All right, so this there, just start it off just a little bit because I'm going to have to work it into the tube from above and then go to the next one. Let's see, I can get the wrench in there. I can't get my fingers in there. We'll do the bottom ones first, I guess. Now, I know these 4 bolts are not going to be the failure point, but it could be that the plastic around the bolts is the failure point. But this is going to hold it so steady. And if I have the 4 bolts like this, I can do horizontal or vertical mounting. So that's convenient. I could put this on sideways. And it'll help me, I don't know, it'll help somehow. Can I get my fingies in there? Oh, poor fingies. Can't get my fingies in there. There we go. Come on, fingy. You got this. You don't got this. You got this. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so now we slide this thing down onto the rail. Might be impossible in the final setup, I'm not sure. I'm gonna like pull out the hardware a little bit so it fits. It's actually easier to do on this than with the 2020 rail. If I anchor one, the whole thing's gonna be anchored in place. So let's just get that like that. My hand hurts. My hand hurts. I'm holding up all this weight with my hand. These are going to be lower than I think they should be mounted in the end. There was a big cracking noise. Okay, so there's one of our answers, is that these things are a little bit weak in plastic. This thing is going to blow up as soon as I hit the brakes. I just feel it now. I feel that it's going to blow up as soon as I hit the brakes. Hala, I think the infill needs to be a much higher percentage if we're going to make this out of plastic. Much higher percentage of infill needs to be achieved for this thing to be viable. There it is. Tighten that up a little bit until I hear a cracking noise. There's a crackling noise. Oh God. Possibly not a good application for the way a 3D printer assembles the body of something. I think I need to put many more layers on the surround for the holes and stuff. Pretty good though. Can't really move it at all. That wiggles a little bit because of the moment arm of this thing. I probably will need to have something bolster it up top. It's pretty smart looking though, right? What up, John Johnson? What type of gym equipment is this? It's the kind that gets you into the type of shape that you want to be in. The kind that lets you race cars. It lets you be a racist. Yeah, so this is real car parts. Real car parts. Stuff that isn't compatible with real car parts. The angle of the pedals of the type of BMW that I got these from is different than the 90-degree angles of the frame rails. We took apart my previous setup. Where did that bar go? Hold on, I want to show off the bent. Here it is. The previous setup, instead of the master cylinder, I have a load cell, right? Instead of the master cylinder. So in the hole that the master cylinder mounts in, I put a bar across it, and my pushing on the brakes bent the aluminum bar. So, for some reason, Finland seems to always be on top of the iRacing leaderboards. Have you seen what the roads look like in Finland and the type of driving tests that they have to take? Because they have to be a rally driver to survive those roads as a teenager. Considering some of the ways I used to drive as a teenager, it's no wonder everybody in Finland is a rally level driving master. Otherwise, they would all be dead. And I guess maybe some of them are, but we don't consider those. Those don't get to the dead ones don't get to the iRacing boards. It's the ones that survive. It's a survivor bias. So, okay, this is pretty solid. It's not moving anywhere right now. Let me get it to where we're looking at it, but chat isn't covering it. Well, I don't want you guys looking at too much of my desk. It's private. Yeah, so I'm going to try to hit the pedals, namely the brake pedal, which is not in a good adjustment space right now, but we can fix that later. This thing that we printed yesterday, we made it in Fusion 360. I used my normal settings, which are not enough sidewalls, and all of the bolts are pretty much pressing against, what is it, 2 or 3 layers at a 0.4 millimeter nozzle? Is it USB? Eventually. So if you really want to know the entire plan on this thing, I'm using real car parts. I have a Mercedes-Benz steering wheel and a Mercedes-Benz steering column, an adjustable steering column. I have other bits of simulator garbage that have to go on this thing. And I've got an actual car gas pedal. That is a BMW F10 shifter. We're not going to use that, but maybe I'll use it for other stuff. That speaks CAN bus. And so does the seat. The seat that my brother dropped off here is a BMW F10 seat. It's the sports seat, I think. So I don't know if it has a heater in it, but it has an entire goddamn computer in it. This is the computer for the seat. I bought an extra one. My brother gave me the original, so we have a working one in there right now. This thing speaks KCAN. So does the shifter. So if I make everything speak KCAN and I use the Open FFB board, which I have a Granite Devices controller for this thing, because we have a previous, Mercedes steering wheel with a 2 horsepower Mitsubishi Mel servo that used to clip to the side of the desk. But my brother drops off this chair here during the holiday season, and I buy hundreds of dollars worth of extrusion rail. Wasn't happy about that. This is an expensive gift on my part. It's like the weirdest. It's like dropping a dog off with your brother's house. But anyway, so my responsibility is now to follow through with making my luxury car simulator. See, I just don't want to simulate just a car. I don't want a race car. It's easy to do. Simulating a race car is too easy. You just buy $400 worth of stuff that you then staple to a sim setup in the room that you haven't decorated yet. It has to be in a room that doesn't have anything on the walls. There's nothing. It's just, I'm gonna decorate this room eventually. It's just kind of a spare room in the house. That's how simulator setups have to go together. They have to be in a room that's devoid of any sort of decoration. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. That does feel natural too. Sorry, I'm in my shop shoes, which would have been Crocs, but I decided against Crocs and I bought whatever the hell these things are. So you can see that I'm wearing 2 different socks today. One is black, one is white. And this is my fat ass in the chair. It actually is this is actually very comfortable. I mean, I could do 5 hours in this. This would be very easy to do like a long car trip in. That's kind of amazing. The pedals are a little bit low right now. But anyway, so the point is I want to recreate. I drive a 528i from 1999. It's a station wagon. I want to recreate the feel of my car, which is a luxury car. I don't want to make a race car because otherwise I would put my pedals up here, like above my waistline, and I'd be lying down. All right, ready? Exactly what I thought I said would happen. The 2 bolts pulled out. So we need smaller bolt holes for those in order to hold on properly. And then we can find out how it's really going to break. In the meantime, I think we can maybe try to work some kind of a thread in there. Maybe not threaded inserts, although that would hold pretty well, but that would be what rips out. I don't want that to be what rips out. Yeah, it was exactly what I thought would fail. All right, let's go back to the bench. Back to the bench. This is really comfortable, though. This is a very comfortable seat. It's a nice place to be. It's not really positioned like a car yet, and the pedals need to be up because this is the floor. Like this, the bottom of this rail is the floor. So unfortunately, the amount that I cut off of the length of these doesn't equate to the height of the pedals. It would have been nice if it did, but I got other big lengths sitting over next to me that I'll need to put on the chop saw. The chop saw makes a complete mess of things, so we'll come back to that one. All right, let's get this thing back over and let's see if we can actually like support this somehow, because it's a 4-hour print. I will be printing another one. It's just, I want to make sure that the other parts of it don't blow up once we correct our mistakes. Brought to you by Fusion 360. Okay. That's Channel Point Redemption farts that they're setting off, and that's an actual thing that I made. And actually, I did design the speaker surround of it in Fusion 360. But keep in mind, this is a sponsored stream for Fusion 360 because we are using their program to host both our scanned wireframe model of the pedals and to design the solids that we will then 3D print. So what I've got in Fusion 360, and this was last stream, we put this all together and I printed this overnight. So this is literally yesterday, we had nothing. And today we have a design that fits this brake assembly. And this is just something I bought off of eBay. You can't really find a 3D model for it. Nobody really cares to have a 3D model. So I propped it up on my bench with a broom handle. That's what that is. And 3D scanned it. And we actually got a pretty damn good scan. We were using the CR Scan S, which is about a $250 3D scanner, which is the most entry level that you can possibly be. The CR Scan S is probably as cheap and functional as you can get. You're not really going to get an amazing scan out of it. We happen to get a pretty good scan, not scam. And so we designed a couple solids around that, and bada bing, we have a thing that mounts us to a 90-degree frame rail. Pretty cool. Yeah, Wiggleheimers and Ben Gizmo are feeding off of each other's energy. Next month's project, cast a molding the pedal with, everybody's been talking about that. First of all, I don't think you understand how many aluminum cans you would need to make something this big. This is big. I have scrap aluminum that I could use, but people don't understand how dangerous it is to do your own molds. So I'm not going to do that. And plus, I could just machine this. I could just machine this thing. It wouldn't be as curvy as this, but I could just build it. I used all my channel points. Yeah, you get 2 per stream. Believe me, when things get more busy in here, if I were actually to become popular, 2 is plenty. So problem was that my holes are not spaced enough. We were literally just relying on the edge of the 3D print. I wonder if we could fit a larger bolt if I have anything slightly larger. I don't think I do though. Like, yeah, that's probably English, but it's got a huge spacer at the top. That one's way too long. Nope. Oh my God, those are actually being set off by this right here. The Twitch API is communicating with Node-RED running on my server, and that will divvy out commands to the various devices in the shop, which means that if I want to give chat an interactive something, all I have to do is throw up a new Node-RED flow, and then chat has a new interactive something. So very cool, but I've given them control of a fart noise maker, and I think they're hell-bent on using it. See, like, these would be good for distributing the force of pressing the brake pedal, although this would bend pretty easily. I don't know what I can do about this. I could use a threaded insert in there, but then it's just going to pull out the threaded insert. That's not really relying on it's not really displaying the strength of that specific fastener and joint. I was expecting that it would rip out that joint, but instead it just kind of threw the screws away. And I could probably just, yeah, you just press fit the bolt back in because it barely grips. I should have realized that the numbers that I was working with, the 0.2 up and down, is for small hardware. For this size hardware, when you get into the M6s and the M8s, you need to bump up your numbers a little bit because the threads are deeper and, you know, more is more. And I don't have room for a bolt back there unless I take an end mill, and I shave that down. But if I take an end mill and I shave that down, we're not relying on the walls of this thing anymore. In the slicer, you basically have a couple layers for the bottom, a couple layers for the top, a couple layers for the edges, and then a couple layers that surround the holes. And you can see that right here. You can see that right here, that I've got several layers that make up the sidewall of these holes. Those layers go all the way to the top and the bottom. So that little like tube goes all the way up to here, and it's covered over on the top layer, but that tube goes all the way down there, right? And so I expected to extract that tube, 3D print some screws. No, I just 3D print this thing again. Oops, I just moved something in my, hold on. OBS rearranging, there we go. Okay, so what am I gonna do? Because yeah, if I were to take an end mill and flatten this thing so that I could put a nut behind it, then I'd lose some of the strength of having the surrounding plastic attached, and it would definitely rip out. If I had an English-sized bolt that was like this, but it was short, that would work. Yeah, see, that's actually, is that a decent grip, or is that, no, that's the same one. That's M8. That's mate. You're going to be dealing with a lot of angular force. It really, honestly, it's trying to do, like, what is it doing? It's doing kind of a rotation, because those are going to be pushed in, these are going to be pulled out. And so it's sort of, well, right now what it did is it pushed there, and then these two ripped out because of the giant moment arm of my foot pressing against it. With 1 or 2 metal rods going through the top to bottom as the part is printed. Top to bottom. No, I don't, it's mostly just making sure that, I mean, like if our threads engaged properly, we could have tested the rest of the print to see if it would do anything. I think it would be okay. I think the PETG would be able to take it, because PETG is like this is an incredibly tough material. This is very light for what I was hoping. And it's likely that I'm probably going to have to make the infill a little bit tighter in order to accommodate the part and make it strong. But I was pretty impressed with the layout over there, like pushing the clutch in and everything. I think this is going to work. I think in the end this is going to work. It's just I need to do a little bit of massaging here. Now, could I just throw Teflon around this and it would create enough pressure to actually hold everything together? Well, I'm out of ideas, so we might as well try that. I haven't tried anything and I'm all out of ideas. Now let's get an incredible amount of Teflon tape. When you order Teflon tape, do not order the white stuff. Order blue or green. Make sure it's a full reel and you'll never have to buy it again. I don't know where mine is though. It's somewhere deep inside of all of my stuff storage. Here it is. I just found it. With all the brewing tubes. Anything in the brewing tubes that would help me? Nah. Nah, that stuff's too big. Too big, I say. Yeah, a little bit of Physics 101 would do us quite well, huh? Just to know where our forces are coming from. One sec. You guys saw the other day, I wear suspenders because my pants are going to freaking fall down. I'm losing weight, and my belt is not that functional in keeping my pants up anymore. And so I have these suspenders that I'm wearing under the shirt, and you guys saw them on the thermal cam. Apparently, because my back curves, the suspenders are not against my skin, and so they're a different temperature from both my shirt and my body. So on the thermal imager, you could see them bright as day, when in reality, people can't see them at all. I went into comp sci, forgot all the physics terms. Yeah, well, you do this stuff for a little while, you start getting reintroduced to all of those physics things. Like, for instance, angular force and a brake pedal dropping on your shins. Destructive iterative design. Yes, what I would like to do right now is get these bolts to put so much pressure on the tubes that are holding them in that they do not pull out at the tube itself. My pull-out game needs to be much weaker. And so when I hit that gas pedal, or the brake pedal rather, I want to see the plastic on this thing shear apart. I want to see what breaks and what I need to iterate through. And it seems like we're not iterating through the Fusion 360 stuff. I narrowed these holes a little bit by like 0.3 of a millimeter. That should be enough that these threads have something to really bite into. But I think I'm going to need to increase the number of sidewalls on the overall print. And I think that'll make it a really solid, strong piece of stuff. But in order to get there, we need bolts that fit tighter into these things, and I'm not going to spend 5 hours waiting for another print. If it were just me and I wasn't streaming, yes, I would wait the amount of time. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an incredible amount of Teflon tape, because I bought this Teflon tape 10 years ago. Oh my God, I think it was 2016 when I bought this Teflon tape. I bought this Teflon tape a million years ago when the world was happy and everyone was a better person. And I haven't used it all yet, so we might as well just waste a bunch of it. Twitch immediately popped up the include paid promotion when you said Fusion 360. Yeah, it's the paid promotion is that Fusion 360 gives me a free copy of their software, and I've got all these cool features and stuff that I can use that I don't use because I try to be more relatable to people who are using the free version of Fusion 360. But what I have to do is a hashtag AutoCAD ad stream every now and then, and that's it. I don't even need to be positive about their product. I don't even need to. They said, we're not going to tell you that you need to be any particular way about our product. You just need to use it and put up hashtag AutoCAD ad. And so every couple months, I got to do 2 of those and we're done. This is the second one, but we will still be using Fusion 360 on this project, obviously. It is a very useful piece of software. I learned AutoCAD. I learned it in college. In college, they sat us down in front of an old version of AutoCAD, and they taught us how to use the command line to put together 3D shapes. And I said, this sucks. And so when I got out of college, after a couple years, I started using EagleCAD to make circuit boards. It was the hobby standard when SparkFun was in their heyday, and all of the makers were new to this whole circuit board batch job thing. You could get circuit boards built in batches, and that would allow many creators to make many different small designs for cheap, because you used to have to spend like hundreds, $300-$400 to get a circuit board made. But with the new batch processes, you could spend a couple bucks and you could get a bunch of circuit boards. So Fusion 360, AutoCAD Fusion 360, bought Eagle and integrated it into Fusion 360. And so it was a foregone conclusion that I would end up using Fusion 360. Much to my chagrin, it's actually a good program. I actually do like it a lot because we can do some truly shocking things with it. And not only can I do the physical, but I can also do the electrical all in one thing and design all around it. We built a button for Tom Thinks so that he wasn't hurting his foot on a foot pedal. Have you ever built a synthesizer? Technically, no, because not that whole thing doesn't work yet. We did modular for a long time, and we're going to get back to that at some point. The responsibility that my brother dropped off on my door in the form of a giant BMW chair has taken precedent over some of the synthesizer tuning things that we have. That thing is barely a synthesizer, and I was able to get it to almost kind of do some cool stuff, but it really didn't make cool noises like I wanted it to. So we'll get back to that at some point. Basically, the tipping point on that one and the way that I do things here, the way we do things in this crazy ass shop, is my buddy Julian was like, he's been after me for 25 years to build a synthesizer. 25 years. I've known the guy for a long time. Buddy Julian. He was the guy whose 3D model you may have seen yesterday. After me for years and years, says, you got to build me a synthesizer in a carbon fiber violin case. And I said, hell yeah, brother. I'm going to do that. And I've never really gotten around to it, right? Eventually, he got fed up. We were talking about it. And he said, hey, you can just buy circuit boards online. You can just buy the circuit boards for the different modules, and they're like $20, and then you can just be left to your own devices to build things. And so I did that. I bought a bunch of circuit boards. That was the last project on stream. It was previous project, yeah. But I just bought these circuit boards, and they basically say, like, we're not going to tell you anything about these circuit boards. Like, fuck off. Thanks for buying them. Which I loved, because then I had to figure everything else out. I had to buy all the different parts that went into them. It was awesome. And we built up some legendary synthesizer modules, a lot of mutable instruments stuff. But then I discovered that all of my solder joints are stupid and that I should feel bad. so all the solder joints were bad, and we got through some of it, and then I had to make a module that would help me tune everything so that I'd actually know that the notes I'm producing are supposed to be produced. Meanwhile, Julian's like, some people think that you shouldn't like precisely tune your synthesizer because whatever sounds it makes are just what it does. But I'm like, dude, that's not that's not what we're doing here. That's not going to do it. This isn't going to do it. I think I have to reprint this. Yeah. Because the Teflon is not putting enough pressure on the plastic. The only other thing I could think to do would be like to overheat it so it would pinch in a little bit. Yeah, it's like he's trying to say like the machine is the machine and it should make the noise. It's kind of like cowboys tuning their guitars based on what they hear around them. But I don't really buy into that very much. Two things are likely with this. I think one is that these are not going to grip at all. My grippers aren't going to grip at all. Or this is going to punch through when I push the thing. It wouldn't punch through if I bolted it to the rest of the setup, but if I bolt it to the rest of the setup, I know these two things are going to pop out because those screws did not go in very hard. So let's just see if the aluminum punches out. Nope, same result. Okay, so I am convinced that I really need to narrow those holes down. I think we're going to go past, well, doing 7 millimeters. Maybe we should do a test print. Quick little test print. Let's make a tube, chat. Let's make a tube. So I'm just going to start a little test up here, and we're going to make a new sketch. It'll be on this face. And then we're just going to take a circle. Actually, we're going to take a polygon, and we're going to take a circumscribed polygon, and I'm going to place it anywhere. It doesn't matter. And we'll take that out to 20 millimeter. And then we've got matey bolts, M8. So we have 7 point, and I'm going to make that 3. 7.3. So this is an ambitious, actually 20 millimeters is not, get like 15, 10 maybe. Yeah, that's more like it. Okay, 10 millimeter, and we're going to do 7.3. We've got 7.5 actually on the design right now. I'm going to go below that, and we'll see if it's possible that I screw something into it, and then I have sort of the hex outside that I can use to grip it in a vise. And so we're taking that, and we're going to hit E for extrude, and I'm going to grab this, and we're going to go up 20 millimeters. That should be a relatively short print. So, body number 3, sizzler test. Save as mesh. Don't touch any of the settings. Just click OK. 3MF is fine. I mean, I don't need 3MFs in my life, but still okay. Don't care about refinement settings. We're just going to desktop temp prints, so save that. Now I start up Super Slicer because Super Slicer is the extremely old slicer that I use because it works just fine. And I'm too lazy to keep up with these 3D printing nerds. These 3D printing nerds exhaust me because there's always a new thing that you're not doing that they think you should do. Circumscribed polygons is an American thing, invented by the creator of Kellogg's cereal. Ah, yes. You need to get more fiber so you stop masturbating. I'm very interested in your sexual habits, young boy. Oh, God. This Kellogg's guy is fucking creepy. All right, desktop. Down here to temporary. Where is that? That's not, no, that's not it. There we go. Temperance. Circumciser test. Bada bing. Look at that. We probably could have made this inside of Circumslicer, inside of Super Slicer, but I'm supposed to be showing Fusion 360. So, all right, we're going to use the normal settings that we have already. Slice now. Wait, we're still on gyroids. We got to turn off gyroids. So, print settings, infill, rectilinear, rectum linear, back to here, slice it again. Oh yeah, there we go. Print time, 20 minutes. All right, we can tolerate that. Now here's the thing, my printer, I turned it off. So now everything is kind of fucked. Hold on. Yeah, we're building a sim racing rig. I'll show you in just a sec. While the printer heats up, I can bring you up to speed. Incorrect username or password. Oh. I don't know why I put such high security on this. It's going to tell me I have like 4 updates. We dusted the printer off after months and months, and it still works. Still works fine. Okay, so Octopi, this is not on standby, because if I hit BL touchdown, I will not hear a click. Yeah, it goes... Okay, so reboot the firmware. I don't want my neighbor to run G-code. So it's so far and beyond. That was like when I had my SSID and I shared that on stream. I showed you guys, I was like, hey, yeah, okay, so here's the SSID, here's the password. And people in chat were like incensed. They were like, oh my God, you just asked yourself, did you know that people can find your everything from your SSID? It's listed on the internet. And so I looked for it on the internet, and it said I was in Ohio. And I'm not in Skibbity, Ohio, or whatever the hell Rizzler bullshit 6-7 stuff you guys do. That was completely wrong. My Wi-Fi can barely make it outside of my house, so my printer is safe. That's why I don't do a lot of security stuff. BL touch down. I hear a click. BL touch up. Okay, I just was talking over it. Okay, so that's ready. And so now I'm just going to send this to the printer. Upload and print. And I'll move the camera so that we can have at least an eye on that. Google still thinks I'm in New Brunswick? That's weird. That's weird. I gotta be careful when moving this camera, because if I disturb the USB plug, it will freeze. So we're just gonna kind of place it like that. And I'll take a look at the frame across the room. I can't, oh, I'm on the wrong camera. I'm on the wrong, that's the desk. That's the desk, that's not the 3D printer. Yeah, so we've got the F10 shifter and the F10 seat. My brother dropped this off during the holiday season, during Thanksgiving. This is an entire ass F10 driver's seat. He gave me the driver's seat, which I think was very generous of him. I don't think he needed to give me the driver. I would have taken the passenger seat because it's the same seat. And I've got a pedal box that we're trying to fit from a different generation. I think this is an E90 BMW pedal box that I fit a load cell to. And so we're trying to mount it right now. And so that's what we've been working on. We 3D scanned and then 3D printed an adapter. I've also got a left hand and a right hand Warthog, and foot pedals are in the bins over there. The plan is, since the seat speaks CAN bus, it's got a whole ass computer in it. That seat has a whole computer in it that runs all the motors and the heaters and all that stuff, right? So we can communicate with this computer using KCAN commands. And if we can communicate with this computer using KCAN commands, then I can have my controller also speak MQTT and then hook up to my Node-RED. And so I can give you guys control of things like shifting or the position of the seat or turning the wheel. I can do all of that stuff in Node-RED, so I can have you guys as little gremlins running around in the system messing me up. The other goal with this project is that I know cars. I know cars and I know how to digitally hack into things. As an expert in IED technology, I also dabble in things car. So what I wanted to do was get a bunch of luxury car systems, hack them, and put them together as my simulator setup. So the chair kind of kicked me into doing this again. We had previously built the Mercedes S-Class steering wheel into a thing that clipped onto my desk side, and it had the luxury wheel feel as well as all the buttons on the wheel. The wheel's got a lot of buttons on them. And so we were able to hack the digital bus that this thing speaks, which is called LIN bus. I will make an adapter for that to get it over to the CAN bus. My brother dropped this off. Then I had to source hundreds of dollars worth of extrusion rails because I'm fat and I don't want to bend any extrusion rails. So I bought 40, 80. That was my holiday gift to myself, was putting all this stuff together. The shifter, the gated shifter for actually doing shifting gears, is a 3D printed shifter, but it feels just like the shifter in my regular car. I'm intrigued by your mouse that looks to have a left click, right click, and a center. This is, oh man, you're playing right into marketing. So part of the Fusion 360 creators program that I'm in, every now and then I get an email, hey, this company is looking to give away free stuff. Do you guys want free stuff? And so the first email was about 2 months after I had already spent $250 on a Creality CR10, or sorry, a Creality CR Scan S. So I paid my own money for this. I could have gotten it for free. I could have gotten it for free and I missed out on it. Anyway, so the next email that came along that I made sure to get in on was, hey, 3D Connection is looking to put their hardware in people's hands. And so this $100 something combo of 3D mouse, a wireless Bluetooth 3D mouse, and their own special CAD mouse was available for free as long as I just used it, right? Just so long as I just used their hardware. This is a good mouse. I don't know if I'd spend the money on it, to be honest. It's a really good mouse. Speedy Cat, I should just say, I guess Speedy, because he's got different names on Discord and here, is a total proponent of this mouse. If I talk anything negative about this mouse, he will speak up and make sure that I am corrected. So bear in mind, some people love this mouse, and I don't think it's just sunk cost fallacy. It is a Microsoft mouse shape, so it's got a forward and a back button. It is Bluetooth as well as their own little dongler. It actually has a power button on it. Unlike the Logitech mouse that I used to use in college, it didn't have a power button. It expected to just go to sleep when it was still, but I threw it in a book bag, so it was moving all over the place. The middle click, it's kind of like an extra scroll wheel click, and I don't use it that much. I could probably get used to it. And then their center click goes to the 3D Connection software. Supposedly you can make macros and stuff with that. So I think it is, I think it would be a fairly useful mouse for CAD. It's a little bit pricey for my typical laissez-faire, because I kind of keep things simple around here. How's the printer doing? So I think that's the rundown of the mouse. The 3D mouse, the puck, for doing CAD and flying around in models and stuff, I don't generally find it very useful. I've got an older wired version of it that sits on a shelf. It's really good for Kerbal Space Program so that you can get into all of the little nooks and crannies of like a design. If you really need to get into nooks and crannies of a design, it is very useful for that. But it typically just collects dust for me. I'm more used to the mouse controls in CAD programs. If you have a client, if you're building something for a client and they need to have like a walkthrough and you want to make a video of walking through and you get used to using the 3D mouse, it's just indispensable for that. Indispensable. You can do a walkthrough through a design. Although I wonder what you can do with VR these days. Is the sim rig really fully built if it can't handle 500 pounds of dogs and a driver? Seriously. It would be nice if the dog was comfortable enough with anything that she would, jump up on my lap when I'm doing like driving games. That would be awesome. But my corgi is a little skittish around stuff happening. Like, she won't come down and hang out with me during stream anymore because she doesn't like me yelling at the furniture and moving stuff around the room. It's too much for her. So we got the BMW shifter working, but we didn't get it fully working. Like, basically, the microcontroller has to act like the transmission because the BMW shifter is 2 devices in a trench coat. And one of the devices is a bunch of buttons, and the second device is a display for other stuff. So when you shift a gear, it says the shifter went forward 1, and then the transmission goes, oh, the shifter went forward 1? Let me shift into that gear. Okay, I'm in that gear. And the shifter sees it say, okay, I'm in that gear, and then it displays that you're in that gear. or mode or whatever. That would be kind of funny if I had a passenger seat. Willow is not comfortable. My corgi, Willow's a fluffy corgi. She's very cute. My corgi, Willow, I should put a picture up when I do that. I'll find a picture of her and put it up on OBS at some point. My dearly beloved, wonderful corgi puppy, Willow, is uncomfortable in cars. I need to take her more places that are fun, because I think it's oh no, I'm in a car. I'm going to end up at either the groomer or the vet. And so she is very uncomfortable in the passenger seat. She kind of spins around trying to find a good position and ends up putting her muzzle sort of between the door and the seat and the backing of the seat. It's very pathetic, unfortunately. Start doing pup cups? Yeah, maybe I should do that. We actually buy the bottled pup cup. We have that in the fridge right now. It's literally like whipped cream, but with no dairy. Willow goes to the beach. I gotta find a dog park around here. I think that would be the best for her. While you guys watch that, I am getting Teflon off of my bolts. I'm untefloning my bolts. I don't know how much Teflon it would take to actually grip into that. But this little test right here will give us a good idea of how much grippy I can get from 0.3, 7.3 on an 8mm bolt. We are about 38 to 40% through. How would she handle the beach? She's never seen the beach before. That'd be interesting. Where's there a beach around here? I think it's a 2-hour drive to get down the shore. I may have to just use new bolts because I'm not getting this Teflon off very easily. It's really not... Okay, there, I think I got something moving. There we go. Okay, I got all the Teflon off. How are we doing this Friday? I haven't looked at my my stats yet. What are we doing right now? Yeah, we got a good number. That's all right. That's a decent number. Yeah, a few months of dog park tricks and maybe I'll have bamboozled her into liking the car. Man, some dogs love car rides. She just, she could take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. We used to take her to training classes, so she would get in the car and it would be very stressful, and then she would be among like 50 other dogs. So that was a little bit stressful for her as well. We're lucky she's very social. Because she absolutely adores this neighborhood. This neighborhood, she can basically go out the door, walk a little bit, and then we run into another dog that she's known her whole life. And it never fails, too. We always see somebody out there. Actually, during the winter, it's been very, very cold lately, so it's been a little bit more sparse. But we did see all of her friends this morning. She saw all of her dog buddies. And actually, it's kind of cool. Having the dog has introduced me to more of the neighbors, so I know kind of what people are up to in the neighborhood more. There are some people whose interests align with mine a little bit. I found out that one of my neighbors has a whole sim setup. They have a whole sim setup, and guess what? It's collecting dust. So, no, yeah, we've got one of those. It's kind of in the room with the computers, but it's just kind of like we put like towels on it and stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much default. Default setup for a sim rig. We're going to force ourselves to get more use out of this thing that we're building, right? We're going to get all the utility of building it, and then it'll be kind of a bespoke setup that's sitting somewhere, so I don't have to lug a 20-pound motor onto the side of my desk in order to use the thing every time I want to use it. Essentially gym equipment. Yeah, I got a little bit of gym equipment that I really could use more. My exercise bike is something that I wanted to put you guys in control of. I wanted to have it so that I could get on the exercise bike and control something like a racing game by pedaling, and then chat would be able to spend points to kind of trip it up. This is excruciating what I'm doing right now. You guys may think that watching The 3D printer is excruciating. I'm trying to get Teflon off of a Volt. Don't let me control that bike. Demethyl will whip me into freaking shape. I've been losing weight, Demi. I think I broke 265 rather. I was plateaued at 265, and my last week's weigh-in, or earlier this week rather, was weigh-in. Earlier this week's weigh-in was 260, so I haven't been great this week, so we'll have to see where it is, but I haven't been great. I don't deserve praise yet. Only if I beat 260. If I see a 2.5 on there, I'll be happy. Oh god, something like my gallbladder is releasing stuff right now. And so as I'm working on this thing, there's a noise coming from right here, and it's this little squelching noise. Like, what the fuck? You have to keep the bike above a certain preset RPM, or every chat message is a TTS using that annoying TikTok voice. Every chat is the annoying TikTok girl. Oh, that'd make me bike faster. I was thinking like putting up resistances and stuff like that. And then you guys could like change the scale of how much the accelerator is pressed based on how much I'm pedaling. Things like that. Yeah, every little weight loss. Yeah, you're right. You are right. You are right. You're right. Oh, my fingernails all messed up. I'm going to fix that. Let's go back to watching the printer. Bonk. That's not the... So we're printing a little test print that's going to give us a better idea of how much the bolt grips into, how much grippies the bolt has on a certain size hole, right? We want to get our grippers out and figure out how much this thing's going to hold on. Because what I was going to do today is, after we had 3D scanned the pedal like block using a broom handle to hold it up, we 3D scanned the pedal block and we got a really good model of it. It's a lot of triangles, but it's a really good model. And we were able to make an adapter. The adapter, you know, maybe I'd want this to be flat or something like that, but you know, hey, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And it all fits. Everything fits the first try because our 3D scan was really good. I mean, if we look at, see, those surfaces lent us a nice surface to work with. So we were able to print this, but it took 4 hours. So in order to not, because I'm going to have to do another 4-hour print, I want to make sure that my holes are big enough so that we get a good grip. And then I can finally, I'm going to add some more to the sidewalls. 3D scanning is so good. It's so crazy. It's hard to get a good scan though. For the stuff you do, for the model making stuff, you've got like a nice matte surface. For the pedals and especially for the steering wheel, the reflective surfaces make it very hard to get a good scan. We'll go back to scanning the steering wheel at one point, but like this scanned way better than I thought it would. But then I was able to just put it into Fusion 360 and make an adapter off of it. Now I want to blow up the adapter. I tried to hit the brakes on this thing and it didn't split off into a billion pieces. So I need to make sure that these two holes are going to grip better so that when I do hit the brakes on it, it'll blow up into a million pieces and I can reevaluate how I'm going to design this thing. The spring is weird. It's kind of funny though. It kind of looks just like a one of those the things on the steering rack, those crinkle things. First 5 kilograms is water weight loss, and then you'll fight your body. 5 kilograms is what? Hold on. 5 kg. Oops, can't type. See, for me, I dropped 20 pounds almost immediately. So I don't think 20 pounds is water weight, but the 10 of them might have been easily. Yeah. Until you remove them with a scalpel. I don't think I'm going to be removing them with a scalpel, but the meds I'm on will keep me from doing too much, right? Do you have to clean the model up after you scan it? Does it take too long? The CR scan software does do cleanup and then it builds a mesh because it's using a point cloud. So you start with a cloud of points and then it does its best to like guess where all the stuff is, and put triangles to that. And it, you know, obviously it's putting way too many triangles into it, and you can set the number. It has a bunch of automatic settings that you can let it do on its own. And then if your scan isn't great, sometimes it'll make assumptions in order to close out the body. I didn't let it close the body. I kept it from closing out the body. And then I guess I could go back with a program like Blender, or Fusion does a little bit of it, but not much. And I could probably staple up some of this stuff. But we didn't need any of these surfaces. They're just there for display. We only needed this top surface here and then the back of this thing. When I was 170 kilograms, I read that as 1700 and I was like, holy. My first 10 was water weight. From I am now 100 kilograms, no surgery, injections, just training and eating broccoli and chicken for 10 months. Oh, that's the middle of the journey too. That's the thing. Because yeah, you got to keep the weight off for like an incredible amount of time so that your fat cells can readjust. You were at 370? Oh, but you're like huge. You're tall. I'm not tall. I'm 5'9"-ish. 5'10", 6 foot on Twitter. Tinder, Twinder. I'm not tall like the Scandinavians are. So my weight isn't excused. People go, you're not that fat. And I'm like, you don't know how tall I am. I'm trying to get Teflon off this bolt. I'm doing okay. How far are we into the prints? %. 220. I would love to be there. I think my goal is 200. My real goal should be 180. If I can get to 180, I'd be happy. But that was the time when I actually got to that weight. I was on testosterone, and so I was motivated and working out, and I was building muscle, and I had a normal human amount of testosterone in my body. But I don't know. So far, meds are working, diet's working. I'm not cheating. I'm not snacking. We'll see how it goes. I'm taking it easy, though. I don't want to lose it quickly. You see all these people on these drugs, and they lose like, man, I lost all the weight in a weekend. And I'm like, yeah, you're going to be seeing all that weight again, bud. You need to foster better habits to keep it off. My goal's 198. Oh, man. Yeah, you've been pretty militant about it, right? It's crazy. There are no shortcuts. Yeah, you got to keep it off. Those habits have to stick. We're getting there. We're going to get this print out, and then we'll test the bolt. And if I like it, we'll cater our holes to that size. I'm going to reprint this thing. And then on Tuesday, I'll tell you guys what happened. You'll be able to see in the Discord what happened. Because basically, 4 hours is an entire workday. Like, I'm not gonna keep you guys hostage here while I print a 4-hour print. We'll try to discover anything else that we can modify on this print to make it better. And then we'll do our next iteration. And unfortunately, that's just where things are. I just want to be under 220. Yeah, that's fair. I got down to 200 when I did the first round of weight loss, when I was on testosterone and I was building muscle and all that. It was pretty great for a while. And then I got fired from my job, and job stress was like, hey buddy, what's up? And the rest is history. It's such BS though, because everybody's got different advice, and everybody comes to you and they go, wow, what did you do? What worked? And they want you to be like, oh, I ate cedar root and it just magically fixed me. And it's like, no, like, I just changed my habits for a year or 2 or 3, and I stuck to it. Life stress, not sustainable. Yeah, I mean, I could have been better. I should have been better about it, you know, but shit happens. This is why I had to anchor my brain in routines. Exactly. That's how I did it originally too, is I spent weeks just barely introducing exercise habits and stuff. And, we got a dog now, so that's just like built in, is that obviously after stream, what I'm going to do is go out and take a long walk until my legs hurt. And the dog loves it too. So, we're going to make it, chat. We're going to get there. Exactly. Yeah. I ate less than I burned. Yeah. But like what worked? Generally what worked for me was eating less calories than I burned. There's tricks to it. I mean, there's a little bit of trick to it. You gotta be adamant about it. And with diabetes, it's even worse. With diabetes, counting calories is very tough, because if you go hypoglycemic, if your blood glucose is low, you have to correct that, and you correct it with calories. So first 3 weeks of the 10 months was just eating normal, but a lot smaller portions to shrink my stomach and make it be normal sized. After that, don't overeat. That's the whole 80% thing with the Japanese phrase. You eat until you're 80% full. It takes about 20 minutes for you to perceive how full your stomach is. So that's why binge eating is so easy. Yeah, I similar thing. I halved all my proportions. And you got to ignore hunger during that. And I happen to have medications that help me do that. Yeah, diabetes is the game changer. It's easier for me to track calorie in, calorie out if I have giant swings in my glucose level. That's definitely a snacking moment. If I keep my input calories low, my glucose level corrects faster and better. Calorie deficit, 1,200 to 1,700 calories per day. Depending on how hard I work out, and I always walk 10 to 20,000 steps every damn day, no matter what the weather. Nice. Yeah, I'm out there with the puppy no matter what the weather. I need to get her to go further, though. She doesn't like to go far. She likes to stay in her little bubble. And so I need to get her to walk further in the neighborhood. Why? These bolts are the worst. They're like dirty. Ugh. Making meals turn into a 30-minute ordeal instead of quickly eating the meal and continuing with the day. Yes. I have been cooking a bit too. I made chili. Chili is incredible for carbohydrates. There's like no carbs in that chili, and it's all beans. Well, beans are carbohydrate, but for some reason, it didn't spike my glucose level like I expected it to. Like I was normal, low side of normal, and then I ate an entire bowl of the chili, and then it only took me to the high side of normal. It didn't spike my glucose level into the stratosphere, which is, I was impressed. I was impressed. Well, that was the most difficult thing that I've ever done, is getting all the Teflon off of that bolt. I shouldn't have listened to that impulse in my brain. That was a bad impulse. Just put Teflon on the bolt. You can get it off easy. I'm always hungry, though, and the more I work out, the hungrier I get. Yeah. Yeah, more proteins is just something to fill volume in the stomach. Certain foods are really good for that. Cottage cheese is a pretty good one, too. Eventually, everything has carbs, though. You got to be careful. Gimmick diets are BS, and doctors who push them are probably getting paid. Every piece of advice, like, you just can't trust when it comes to losing weight. There's just so much misinformation out there. It's crazy. And it's tough because it's like hard to actually get good information about, hey, how do I get some of these pounds off of my fat ass? And then you realize, wait, getting something special for lunch every day is, even though I feel like I've been good lately. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. You had a burger yesterday. It's like, oh shit. I didn't realize that I was doing this. This is just not working. No cheats, just no carbs, yeah. No peace. What do you want from us? Die. Every day I think about Independence Day for some reason. Friend and I used to quote that to each other all the time. AI generated health information videos are a thing now. Oh my God. And so the AI can just feed the AI with its own disinformation. Welcome to the heat death of the internet. The printer is oddly quiet right now. Hold on, it says like a toddler. If it's quiet, something is wrong. Oh, we're at 100%. Okay. So with the way that I use my welcome to Earth is modern poetry. the way that I deal with this printer with the PETG is I wait. I have to wait until this cools and then it will free itself from the bed. All right, let me go push that back a little bit so you guys can see it. But we need the temperature to go down far enough that the glass contracts, and the glass will contract at a different rate than the plastic. The plastic will shrink by 3%. I don't know what the bed shrinks by. Ow. I don't know what the bed shrinks by, but it's a different percent. And so the difference in distances microscopically will pop the plastic off of the glass bed without bringing up glass crystals. Because that's with a pure glass bed, it'll actually pull up glass crystals with it. This is a like a combination of Teflon and exposed glass. Let's see, what do we got? What do we got? First crossing. There will be a second crossing, and that's when we can pull it off of the bed. If I wait long enough, it'll just be loose on the bed. I've always kind of wanted to tilt the PETG printer 45 degrees and just put a basket under it, because whenever it's done, things will just fall off. They just kind of break themselves off. Weight gain when going with poor sleep for a few weeks. That's another thing that I've been working on this week, actually, is getting to bed at a reasonable time and waking up during like normal human hours. Because, yeah, that wreaks havoc on your body's systems, and that will lead to weight gain. And my sleep habits have traditionally been absolutely terrible. All right, let's see here. Is this going to move at all? Our weird little hex nut. I got portable nut. I shouldn't force it off. Let's do the secret sauce, which is where streamer can't wait, so he hits it with Windex. Since the bed is warm, the Windex will evaporate, leading to evaporative cooling, and then the detergents in Windex will work their way under the print, helping to release it. Bada bing. So that forces the issue, and it's not something that I should typically do. But when I do it, it cleans the bed a little bit. Assuming that I take a paper towel to the bed. Do I have a pinter towel? Let me get a paper towel. Every now and then, Windex and a paper towel to clean the glass. All clean. Perfect. Put that over here. Okay, so now we got our test piece to see what 7.3 gets us in terms of threads gripping. All that for this. 3D printing takes a little bit of patience around here. I don't have a Voron or whatever the hell fetish printer you guys... Why is this crooked? Wow. What went on there? Is my bed that... The bed levels itself every time. This is like weirdly unparalleled. Did the top melt down a little bit? I mean, it looks good. Right? Like, that looks pretty good. I don't know why I feel like it's not. Maybe it is parallel and I'm just... Maybe it's the fisheye lens on the camera. Windex corrosion. What? It could have still been a little, like, warm, and maybe I crushed it a little bit. Let's see, how does it show in the No, maybe that is parallel. I'm just going crazy. All right, oops, other side. Other side, other side. All right, I want to see how much this thing grips. I'll put almost just a little tiny bit of pressure on it. I don't want it to squish it. This steam frame is going to be $1,000. That's what the speculation is, 800 to 1,000. So I don't know if it's really worth it. I wanted to get one to replace my stream computer. Oops, shit. I didn't give myself much to grip on this thing. So it's a little difficult to start. Let's see if that splits the print open. Sleep is one of the most important things to longevity and happy living in general. I used to think it was unnecessary, then they found it the hard way. It was really wrong. I don't think anybody thought it was unnecessary. But there has been a lot of science to try to keep people awake, and you know, the effects of not sleeping have been studied pretty heavily, and they're not worth it. Oh, saving for either one. So that is grippy as frig. That is a grippy. That's got the grippers out. And you can see it's distorting a little bit. The marquee light effect is done by my bed. The Teflon has a matte coating, and then the exposed glass of the little dots. So that's how it's gripping onto this thing when it prints. It'll grip onto those little dot pieces. So that's pretty grippy. Ooh, look at the bolt due to friction. In the 80s, they used to say we don't really know what sleep is for. It's not needed, but I question the intent behind the statements like that in the first place. In the 80s, where are you? I mean, the Toonami thing was sleep is for the weak. But that's just a cartoon. That's just Toonami. I think most of that was revolving around keeping soldiers awake. I had a friend who said his dad was able to get some kind of a keep you awake medicine. The 80s had cocaine. Yeah, they did. Well, so much for that. Where'd that go? Come back here. I think this one's the smaller size. I could use that to, well, no, that's too loud and crazy. Father, my main man. I'm not putting a cap on it. It's fine. It's totally safe. This is completely safe over here. It's fine. I have had the bottle fall on my keyboard, yes, before. Oh, I just saw two more threaded inserts from that horrible incident that we had with threaded inserts falling all over the floor. That was a bad time. Oh, the fizz! Yeah, no, that's true. Glowing bolt. This is the force of friction right here. So the other thing I could do is with 7.5, I could probably go a little smaller than that even. I could go to like 7, because you can see the bolt kind of put threads into it. I could get my, oh God, oh Jesus Christ, oh God, okay. I can probably just get my tap and just cut some actual threads into this thing. Famous last words, yeah. So I could thread the PETG really easily, in fact. And 7.3 seems to be a pretty good size for that. I thought 7.5 was going to be the answer. No, I don't want to use inserts because then all we'll do is pull out the insert. I also don't think I have them that big. Gotta be careful, that's like a really soft material compared to aluminum. Yeah, but then that would just fit in. All right, so let's see how much pressure I can actually put on this thing before. Oh, I didn't thread all the way through, so that's actually, yeah, that's going to put a lot of pressure on it. I need to thread all the way through. Hold on. I need to go all the way through because I want to see how strong these threads are. Can I reach from the... Yeah, I think I can get it from the other end without cross-threading. This is kind of a weird thing. There we go. Yeah, this is how easy it taps. It's kind of trivial. Okay, so that doesn't need any more pressure than my own hand. All the way down to the hilt. And then we've got the friction of the entirety of the PETG on it. Yeah, that's something I'm trying to teach some people around here is you go backwards until it pops into the thread. You got to be careful. You don't want to put, like, even the weight of the whole tap on that thread if I'm going backwards is enough to damage it and start cross-threading. All right, so how strong are these? I'm just comparing it to what I've felt through this handle previously. What's up, Haystack? I need a deep dish with cheese and meat. I said cream cheese. I was about to be like, what? I had cream cheese in my ramen noodles. Well, they're fire noodles. Okay, you see that? It's tight, but I can get it to fully spin because it's just plastic threads. So threading it is probably a bad idea. Using all of that pressure that I got from the unthreaded hole was probably the way to go, because this just spins now. So what'll happen is I'll hit the brake pedal and once more it'll pull this entire bolt through using the force of the brake pedal. So I'm going to do a 7.5, although I feel like I should go a little smaller than that. But I think without... Fuck that. This is just... I'm going to do another 7.5, or 7.3, rather, 7.3 millimeter. And we'll just rely on pressure to hold those threads in instead of doing something fancy like tapping it. I'm not going to do the threaded inserts because it'll just pull the threaded insert out. And we're going to add to more sidewalls on the slicer. So we go back to Fusion 3/6 and I get rid of this so that I can get in here. Actually, we just go back to the sketch. So sketches. Oh, come on. Give me the... There we go. Seven 0.3. The PETG plastic itself is not really that, it's not strong enough to really hold the threads. But if the pressure of the entire hole is bearing down upon my fastener at the distance that I put it in there, I think it'll give us a good amount of grip. What if I designed it with a nut recess on the other side? That's plan C, and that'll probably come after I try this. So if I give it the recess and I put a washer and a nut on there, I will have a much wider area for that force to go into. And that'll be the plan eventually. So right now I'm going to try it with this and see if the PETG doesn't shear into a billion pieces. I've had a lot of luck with fasteners and 3D prints by copying what Prusa does with their prints for their printers. Lots of captured nuts inside plastic. We wouldn't need it to be captured. I mean, I would just put a recess on the bottom here, and then we would be able to fit a nut into there. I'm not going to try that at first because I would like this to work, but I will try it at second. Now for the force sensor, that's something that I need to look at now, is how are we going to attach the force sensor? Let's get a better idea. Because I think this thing needs to spread that force out to the whole of the plastic, or I need to build a column. Buy my book. Buy my book. Watch my nut. I don't know. Yeah, how am I going to do this? This pretty much comes to the rim here, so it looks like if I had like a big column on this thing, what's happening is you press the brake pedal and you're essentially putting force into these threads right here, these threads on the load cell. And what that wants to do is push this way, and the whole thing wants to tilt with the brake pedal that you're pushing. So we have to somehow support all of the force right here in this area. I don't quite know how to do that other than putting like a metal disc. If I made like a big thick metal disc that I just put on the end of these threads, and then it would just push against all this stuff. Right now, as it is, this is poking in just a little bit to this area, and it seems like the plate of this is even with the rim around it. So relying on plastic to take that force isn't great, and so what we did with this one was I added just like a metal tube. I didn't let it go all the way through. I was going to let it go all the way through, but does load cell require that only the stud reacts to force? Yeah, you're supposed to press on the stud, because if you press on the outside piece, then it can't flex, and the MEMS device doesn't really get the right amount of force. No, you've got to press against, I believe, the threads on this side. They didn't really specify very much, but it's. I am of a belief that that is how you have to do it. If I do a column through, then we've got the support plastic around the column. So if I make this column go all the way through, that means we are pushing against a big piece of plastic that is connected to the rest of the rest of the design. And so if I put a big washer on the load cell and I made a column, that would be much stronger. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be less than 10 millimeter, and then I can put a bunch of washers on this, and then that will fall into the hole, and that's what's pressing down on that part of the load cell. Because there's a little 1 millimeter collar on this thing. I can put like bolts and then a washer, and then that'll hold it against just the print itself. And that'll put a little preload on the spring so that I don't feel like a little weirdness as I hit the pedal. And we'll just have to see if that can take the force. I'm going to put many more sidewalls on the print itself at slicing. It's going to make maybe a 5 millimeter hole. So back to sketch number 1. So let's make this 5. That'll be good. And then that's it for this. So let's output this. Let me get wrenches and stuff out of the way. I cleaned up the shop and now it's dirty again. It's almost like we're working on stuff here. All right. Yeah, that'll, and then, oh, I need to make it go all the way through. So let's get Fusion back into a position where I can see the timeline. And I'm looking for this extrusion here. We've got a little hashtag, a little hash over top of that step. So click on that, double click. And then instead of it going an arbitrary distance that doesn't go all the way through, there, we go all the way through. And that way the slicer is going to build up walls around that. I still think you should learn mold making and casting, then you can 3D print stuff and make a mold out of it and cast in super rigid resin. I guess resin would be pretty strong there, huh? Yeah, resin would probably be pretty good. How dare you use your shop? It's supposed to be, your shop isn't yours. It's supposed to be a decorative thing that we have tours of when guests come over. This is appalling. These lines are not good. It doesn't matter though. Those are fine. It's fine. It's fine. It fits relatively well. There's a little bit of an offset on it, and yeah, it's good enough. Okay, so there's our new iterative design. Man, it only took us all stream to get this done. That's the thing, is if you've got like a 4-hour print, typically I would just like print it again and be like, oh man, I wasted that much filament again. But in the case of streaming, it's like we can't take a 4-hour break, so we have to vet out everything we possibly can. So we did a test print in order to make sure that our bolt holes were large enough that the fasteners would get enough friction on them that they would have a strong grip. And it turns out threading means that you've got a tiny little piece of PETG holding on to your bolt. That's not good enough. What you want is something that's just basically gripping the whole thing and squeezing it. And that way it's sort of the outside of your threads are going to dig in a little bit, but that's where all of your gripping force is going to be. So yeah, I don't want to resin cast this. I think I just want to build up the sidewalls by like umpteen number of layers, and hopefully the PETG is enough, because PETG is some pretty crazy strong stuff. All right, so let's export this. That is what, yeah, that's the one. Save as mesh. PETG has been my go-to, yeah. I know there are stronger filaments, but you need to do special stuff with it. So PETG has been a very good engineering kind of filament where you need something that's the relative shape of your 3D model, but it's extremely strongly put together. Oops, that was the wrong one. Pedal brace. Version 1, final. Okay. Good, 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 good. Print settings. Width and flow. Multiple extruders. Slicing. Curve smoothing. Vertical hole. Where is that? Oh, perimeter and shell. Duh. Perimeters. 3. 4, 5. 5 perimeters. ASA is easier to print nowadays. And since I've seen you chug resin like it was Gatorade, I thought the fumes wouldn't hurt. I've got the 3D printer that does the goop printing, and it's very accurate, but I don't know how strong that stuff is. It couldn't, I mean, the resins can get pretty strong, but man, they're crazy stuff. Have you used much PC? I've been super impressed with it recently for non-fiber level stuff. I thought you meant like computer, because sometimes there's like, there's like a language gap here. So sometimes people break up English grammar to the point where they'll say things like, do you know PC? And I go, yeah, it's I use a personal computer. But no, you mean like it's actually like a material for 3D printing. I have never heard of it. Non-fiber level stuff, huh? Polycarb. I've got a Mahalo, no, not Mahalo. Someone sent in a spool of one of those alternate materials that's like light and super strong, and I haven't gotten around to even like unpacking it. I've left it in the package. It's got all the desiccant around it. I think the center hole is going to get crushed without that tube, even with washers to spread the load out. With as many walls as I'm putting on it, because it, I mean, the tube did kind of crush through. If I've still got problems, I mean, maybe I can still put a tube through the center, but we'll see what happens. Time to make a bath for our dog. Take care, bother mods in chat. See you, Demi. You think the plastic is still gonna, I mean, it's not a small amount of force going into the thing. Just found out a few years ago they 3D printed some material, some metal brake calipers, and used them in cars. Eek. Polycarb is what fighter jet canopies are made out of. And those killed Goose. I'll never forgive them. Spoilers for Top Gun, which came out in the fucking 80s. So even with like 5 layers, you think it's going to crush under the weight of 200 and some odd pounds of me. Luckily, though, when I do hit the brakes, we don't have a shift of inertia where I'm gonna be putting more than my own leg weight into it. We don't have that. This thing doesn't move, but still, we could have problems. It's 100% gonna crush. You guys are so confident. You're so confident. I'm gonna try it, and when it does crush, I'll put the bar back in. The force multiplier on the pedal looks like 3x at least. 5 layers is a lot. That's a millimeter of plastic. Let's see what it looks like in the slice preview. And we are talking about PETG, but PETG is not a super duper material. It's just plastic. Yerk. Yeah, see, I'm bolstering it with that many layers. I almost feel like I should do more. Let's go up a little bit more from that. Let's like totally overdo it. 8 layers. 8 layers! Sir, the 3D printer can't handle it. I don't care. Give me 8 layers. Yeah, now it's a column of solid plastic going through the whole thing. We're going to try that. It's going to take 5 hours to print. Combat robots do like 5 walls. Oh no. Yeah, we're going to try that. This is rectilinear, right? Yeah. I didn't make it any more dense than normal. This is still 18%. I don't feel like I need that density. I need the density of the columns. So I'm going to try this and we'll see, because I'll put it through its paces. I mean, if Shorty, if you pull up the earlier part of the stream right after starts soon, it should be around there. I tested it. It seemed pretty solid. And then I hit the brakes and it immediately went right into my shin. So I'll try this though, because I think this will grip the bolts better. There's still a chance that the 2 master cylinder bolts are what rips out, in which case I will put a recess under them so that I can put a bolt on like a nut on the other side. I'm not going to do a captured nut because I might want to put like a lot of torque into it. But I think that might get us there. These are settings that I probably should have done initially just from the get-go. Our 3D scan was like perfect. It's so awesome that it fit. One of the things that I love about 3D printing, because remember, well, when I started off this stream, I said 3D printers are dog shit. They're terrible. We can't even make 2D printers work. Why would 3D printers be the end-all, be-all of it all? Then I got into printing because I promised you guys I would. Put the bolt in from the back and make it a stud and a nut install. Well, then I can't use just one tool to do the whole thing. I'm trying to stay with the hex handles. So I don't know. I don't want to have to get my ratchet out in order to put this thing together. We'll see where things get to, because, you know, eventually I'm going to be using all kinds of fasteners and I'll need to have a full toolkit in order to work on this thing at all. But with 3D printing, I like put my best foot forward. I said, you know what, I'm going to try this. I'm going to get into it and we'll make sure that, you know, I do stuff with it. And it turns out making a control panel, things were like my drill would always walk somewhere, or you'd machine it and you'd have one little mistake in your metal. All that stuff with 3D printing, boom, done. Okay, everything is there. It's measured. It's all the right dimensions. It's kind of incredible to 3D scan my pedals, design something around the contours, print it, and it meets up and fits perfectly. You can still keep the hole tight. Saves on needing to fight the plastic friction unscrewing it. Oh yeah, and possibly cross-threading. That's true. Just use tape. Duct tape is universal fastener. What are you, red, green? Okay, so I'm going to start printing this because I'm going to try this version of it. Oops. I'm going to try this version of it, and when I hit the brakes and the bolts pull out, I will be able to tell you guys about that over the weekend. I don't think I'm going to stream tomorrow. If I do, then we'll do an immediate catch up of this thing. If it works, that would be great. It'll probably eventually break. If it breaks immediately, I will get a picture of it in the Discord. If it breaks, I will widen those holes to be, 8mm, and then it won't grip at all. And I'll put a fastener on the other side. That's the plan. I'm going to keep that many sidewalls though, because these need to be pretty strong. So with that, I hit send G code and we're done here. I'm done with you, chat. I'm done. It's over. As my printer homes itself, possibly getting it wrong because it hit that box. That box is too close. I guess I should move it a little bit. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's all fine. Printer is getting a bit of a workout. When I first powered it up, it smelled like when you go into the guest room in a big house and the light bulbs have dust on them. I guess people don't have incandescent light bulbs anymore, do they? So they don't know what burning dust smells like. Burning dust smells a lot like a 3D printer that you haven't used in 3 months. Being fired up without getting cleaned at all. Yeah, starting up the furnace for the first time of the year. There you go. Yeah, it does. That does. Well, that had a bit of a different smell in this house, at least. Our furnace is only a couple years old, though. We had the whole thing replaced. We said, you know what? Screw this. We're not going to have this thing fail in the middle of winter, because winters are getting kind of harsh in Pennsylvania recently. So we just got a whole new furnace. We budgeted it out. Budgeted it. Which that's a good little peace of mind. You go, yes, that fan has been on for 2 days, but it's able to do it. Maybe, depending on how they build those things nowadays. They build furnaces to last these days, right? It's still heating up. We're still getting up to temperature. Error reported by printer. Your printer's firmware reported an error. What? Extrude below minimum temp. Uh-oh. Well, let me go check the wires. I'm gonna wiggle the wires and make sure those are okay. Extruder below temp? What kind of bullshit is this? Everybody looks okay. Had pretty tight wiring on this whole thing. May just be a weird error. Just kind of getting a little squirrely with the numbers. Make sure that's all seated. It's pretty solid. Yeah, it shouldn't have bumped anything. So I guess we'll just try again. Make sure these are out of the way too. Huh. 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 All right, let's try again. Hey, what's up, Incredible Mike? I'm trying to get this print running. See if it just had weird expectations. We had a low temperature on the nozzle error, which is a weird one. Don't know if I've gotten that one before. And this printer's been working for quite a while. We're running on CAN bus, which usually means that there's a CAN timing error where like a signal will time out and weird stuff happens. Oh, Haystack has a three stream streak. Good work, Haystack. Okay, I think, is that the bed? Which one's the red line? Red line is the nozzle, and I see the nozzle heating up, so I think we're good. As long as it doesn't like spike in temperature or anything. There's cold air going onto the printer right now, which it's not going to affect my baby, but the cold air is cascading down directly over the printer. And when it rains, that window gets wet. So, you know, moist air also cascades down onto all of my filament and stuff. I've never had big problems with moisture though. I do have a dryer and I've used it occasionally on some weirder filaments, but the PETG they say like loves to soak up water, and I've never really seen it happen. Mahalo made the clip of the brake pedal breaking off. Good. The clutch pushed in perfectly. It seemed very nice and comfortable. Although, you know, the seat's obviously too high, but you know, the movement of the pedals is fine. And then I went to hit the brake and it just like shinned me. We're not airing out again, are we? No, the bed's coming up the temp. Okay. All right. So anyway, this print has started. That's 4 hours in the future. So I am going to walk the dog. I am going to end a little bit early this Friday, and I'm going to walk the dog. And then once this print is done, I am going to wrench the bolts. And once that's together, I will put it onto the test setup of the sim setup, and I will hit the clutch and I'll go, ooh, the clutch feels really good. And then I'll hit the brakes and I'll go, the brakes feel fine. And then I'll put a little pressure into the brakes and it'll break off and it'll bang into my shin again. And at that point, I will follow your advice and I will put a fastener on the opposite side, which I have, and I will leave it gapped enough so that I can get a ratchet bit onto that. I'm going to measure a ratchet bit and then I'll put a hole that's big enough to have it on there. The workshop in our building got a 3D printer last year and I'm finally trying it out. That's cool. You gotta get to know that printer. I'm a big advocate of having your own printer because then you get to know it personally, and you know what it's, you know, what it likes in the bedroom, and then you're able to actually utilize it to the best of its abilities. That's sort of where I'm at with this printer is, and why I'm reluctant to change any of the stuff around. So you got to get to know that printer really well. I don't know how you do that with a public printer, but it's cool that they have one. So now you can, if you know, backed into a corner, you can get something printed pretty easily. That's cool. Yeah, I know it's a space being the final arbiter between what we do with all of our projects. I wish I had space. Then I would have something like a simulator set up. Okay, so I've got the simulator setup started, but I still don't have the space. I'll buy it dinner and see what things it do. If it's something like a Bamboo Labs, like those are a known quantity and you can just design with that in mind and Google around and find out what like the little weirdnesses of the printer are, because those things are like plug and play. Those are like a solved equation. So anyway, I think I programmed the end card. I'm pretty sure I did. No, I didn't. Wait a minute. No, I didn't, because it's like Tuesday is when you guys will see me next, unless I do a Saturday stream, and I'm debating on whether or not I do that. I don't think I will, but yeah, Bamboo's good for normies. Yeah, people who don't want to, like, I mean, it's like what Superfast Matt said, because he got sent Bamboo printers. Bamboo never send me anything. I've emailed them and they didn't respond. I'm not cool enough for people to give me big free stuff. Anyway, I couldn't fit a Bamboo Labs printer in here anyway. The thing about them though is that they're like a known quantity, and so you could Google around and find out what all the stuff is about them. But the way Superfast Matt describes it is like, when you get a printer, the printer's going to be your hobby. With things like the Bamboo Labs printer, it doesn't really have to be. You kind of learn how to run it, you learn how to design for it, and then after that, you can actually just hit the ground running on your projects. It's the 20th. The 20th already? Jeez, and I gotta take my drugs today. Did I put 2024 in there? No, okay, good. Yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. I'm gonna be on the Discord. That's where we can talk about this stuff. We know what the next steps are. It's basically I test the thing that I'm printing right now, and when it blows up, then I go, yeah, you guys were right, and then I do all the stuff that I was supposed to do. Yeah, put a metal rod through the thing and put a washer on that, and then have fasteners behind the plastic. And hopefully at that point, all the compressive forces are not too much for the PETG, and that continues to work, because the only contingency after that is either lowering the amount of support inside, like more support inside, more plastic, or making it a metal. I don't want to have to do that though. I want to keep this thing easy, you know? If I have to actually machine the thing, I'm going to mess it up so badly. And I don't have a CNC yet. I was going to work on that soon. Metal cast. I'm not doing a metal cast. I don't want to deal with that much hot aluminum, hot molten aluminum. 3 days, 20 hours, 32 minutes, 26 seconds. Promise me you will last that long and you'll be back to watch my stream. I am going to go walk my puppy while there's still a little bit of daylight outside for once. And in the meantime, this thing will continue to poop on a platter. Let's see who's online. I don't want to have to deal with follow-up questions today. I just want to go walk my dog. Oh, there's like nobody around, man. Uo is doing Lego Star Wars, and they've probably been doing it for like a half a year. Oh, there's some more people down here. Gonad is on. Oh, Lunatic too. Let's do Gonad though. Gonad's doing Winter Car. So I'm gonna take the dog. Hey, can you guys tell Gonad that I'm taking the dog for a walk so I'm not here? I'll be back in his stream later. Raid Flatulent Gonad. If Gonad wasn't on, we'd be raiding Louis. We should raid Louis in the near future though. You guys gotta remind me about that. But let's raid up Flatulent Gonad. And I do need to like raid Uo's lab at some point too. But I'm not gonna pass up a Gonad raid today. All right, I will see you guys later, and I will be back soon enough. Later.